Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Ball is Round. I'm Hadi Raphael, and tonight on the show, CF Montreal clinches playing spot versus New York City FC. We'll have the chance of hosting Laurent Courtois for an interview, and we'll have a look at the playoff brackets going forward. That and a lot more on as we celebrate episode 200 of The Ball is Round.
Hi guys, it's Paul Vance here, ex of The Ball is Round, Montreal. I'm speaking to you from Harland and Wolff Welders Football Club. They're a second tier club in Northern Ireland where I am now the general manager. It's the club from the shipyard where the Titanic was actually built. So just to give you a little bit of background. And I'm speaking to you tonight to kind of celebrate the fact that TBIR are about to hit their second century of episodes, which is absolutely fantastic because, you know, I remember contacting Hadi in 2019 with this idea about having an English-speaking podcast on Montreal Impact as they were then, and I must admit I was a little bit skeptical. I think Hadi was even more skeptical. It was probably a rather unlikely sort of combination, the Irish guy and the Lebanese guy talking about soccer or football in Montreal. But we got it going, and you know, it took off, and we had some help along the way from Sam Savvy at different times, and Sam was on the show for quite a long time, as was Eve. And they deserve as much credit as anyone else, probably not as much as Hadi, who's been the staple through all previous 199 episodes, and it's just fantastic that you're reaching 200. I know he's got another new team around him now, and it's fantastic that the show still survives and hopefully goes from strength to strength. So my hearty congratulations to you guys, and you know what? It's only a cup of coffee, but congratulations, and here's to the next double century. Well done, everyone on TBIR Montreal. Great stuff.
What's up, Hadi, Andy, and Elias? I just want to congratulate you guys on that 200 episode. You know, it's a crazy milestone, and when we started this project, I was really optimistic, but I never thought that it would be this good and this seamless when you guys are on the mic. So I'm a big fan. You guys know I'm always listening, and you know, you racked up a great audience that are really into it, so I'm super proud of you guys. So just keep up the great work, because in my opinion, you guys are number one podcast for everything Montreal, and with all due respect to all the other podcasters who work really hard, I think you guys are the best. So keep up the good work. I'm a fan, and I'm sure that number 300 will come as great as 200 today. So congrats again, guys. See ya.
Hi, TBIR. Congratulations on the 200th episode. Looking back at how much this project has grown from the early days of recording on Skype to now, of course, streaming live every Sunday, it's amazing to see where the show has gone. I'm really excited to see where you guys are going to bring it in the next 200 episodes. I can't even begin to imagine. So once again, congratulations, keep up the great work, and I miss you.
Salutations à l'équipe de Double S Round, auditeurs, animateurs. À l'époque de l'émission Coup Franc, on trouvait que les deux avaient le même esprit, l'une en français, l'autre en anglais. Plus de soccer, moins de rumeurs. Alors bravo à tous ceux qui ont contribué à cette âme, notamment l'équipe actuelle, emmenée par Adi, mais d'autres qui ne sont plus là maintenant, comme Paul Vance, F. Julia et j'en passe. Et on vous souhaite une très bonne continuation.
Hi, Hadi, Eve, Elias, Andy, Sam, Paul, Listen, there's been quite the carousel over there in terms of hosts, but one thing hasn't changed. That's how relevant you guys are, especially in the English media space for podcasts and for CF Montreal knowledge. You guys are in the know, you're experts, you're people in important voices in this space. So long may that continue, and congrats on 200 episodes.
Hey, Alex Gonge-Ruzik here, and I just wanted to send a special shout out to my friends over at The Ball is Round in Montreal for hitting episode 200. Super exciting milestone. I'm happy to have contributed to a few shows and looking forward to many more from that crew. And I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the current and past hosts of the show, including Hattie, Elias, Andy, Eve, Sam, all great people, and excited to see this project continue.
Hello, The Ball is Round. 200 shows. Wow, what a milestone. Amazing run for you guys. Thanks for having me over the years, and keep going.
Hey guys, Greg Sutton here. Just wanted to congratulate you on your 200th episode. It's a fantastic milestone to reach, and you should be very proud of what you guys are doing over there. Awesome insight on soccer here in Canada and in North America. So keep up the good work, and here's to another 100, 300, 400. Keep it going.
Good morning from Cincinnati. Steve Buckridge here, and I wanted to wish The Ball is Round a congratulations on achieving their 200th episode. What an achievement. Congratulations to all. I also wanted to thank you for having me on your podcast a few times over the last several years, as well as Hottie joining us on the U8 Lion podcast a few times as well. We look forward to the next 200. Congratulations.
Hi everyone, my name is George Sanchez. I'm a former guest and a fan of the Ball is Round podcast. I just wanted to wish all the members involved with this podcast congratulations on reaching the 200 episode milestone. It's a great content, great show, great podcast, great hosts. Keep it up, and here's for 200 more.
The Ball is Round Montreal. Bonjour to all my friends over in Montreal. 200 freaking episodes. Congratulations to you guys. This is definitely an achievement. You guys should definitely be celebrating. To have 200 episodes of a podcast, especially an independent MLS podcast, is something to celebrate over. And listen, we've had a great relationship over the past couple of years. So many good memories having you guys on any one of the podcasts I've been a part of, or being on your guys' podcast. It's always a lot of fun. And of course, I won't lie to you, my most memorable moment with you guys was being part of Duke by the River and one of our co-hosts at the time, Zach Lobasso. And I felt it a little bit too. But the Jordy Mihailovic years, we were all hyped about. We were all saying he's going to be on an MVP form. And look, he had himself a solid year. That was 2022? That was a fun year for both of us, Montreal and Philadelphia. And of course, Jordy went on to get sold off. But listen, it's always fun talking to you guys, and obviously decision day is going to be really big between Philadelphia and Montreal. But listen, you guys know me. It's always love with you guys. I love you guys. Keep up the good work, and hopefully we have 200 times 20 more episodes. From JP here in Philadelphia, Dupont, Montreal.
Guys, congratulations to The Ball is Round on 200 episodes. Here's to 200 more. CF Montreal on their way to the playoffs in 2 seasons, but congratulations, Elias and Hattie. And I know, Andy, you're new to this whole thing. Looking forward to chatting with you in the not too distant future. But congratulations on 200 episodes, guys. Here's to many more. Cheers.
Wow, 200 episodes, guys. 200 episodes. We finally made it. It's been a hell of a roller coaster. It's been amazing talking to all the co-hosts that have participated in that podcast. Elias, Andy, you are the current co-host with me. I'm so happy to have you as my colleagues on this podcast, and hopefully we'll be here for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 episodes, all the three of us together. So very exciting. Guys, night of celebrations, yes, but not only for TBIR, but for a lot more things. We can celebrate CF Montreal clinching the playoffs. We can celebrate Canada men's national team winning their friendly. We can celebrate so many things to celebrate. Roses FC, that's going to become another professional team here in Montreal. So many things. What a great week. What a great day. What a great achievement. Elias, how are you today? Are you feeling as ecstatic as me right now?
Oh, this has been an awesome weekend. We'll get into CF Montreal and their successes, obviously, but 200 episodes again. I'm never gonna forget that you were one of the first people to welcome me into the press box, right back in 2021 when I felt very small and very, very, very unwelcome. Not necessarily from other people, just myself. I didn't feel like I belonged there, and you were one of the first people to reach out and talk and just treat me as a peer and have me on the show, which is the first live show I'd done for anything actually in any capacity of sports journalism related. So yeah, this has been such an incredible experience, and yeah, like most of the people in the video said, right? What's 200 more? Let's go. Let's we're never leaving. And,
let's do this. Andy, are you as happy as us? I know you're the last one joining us, but I'm pretty sure you can see everything that's been happening for the past few years.
Yeah, look, I don't know what's happening with what you guys have been doing the past 200 shows, but man, just based on everything that everybody's saying, it sounds like you guys have been doing a fantastic job. Honestly, I want to thank you guys for welcoming me here, as I've said before, but more than anything, I think Hadi, I think you are the person that I mean, since I've been listening to this show, because I was an avid listener before. The ball is round is Hadi. So Hadi, this goes to you, and then big. You're gonna hate me. I know Hadi doesn't want me to do this. I'm okay with that, but
too bad, Hadi.
But sorry
You're
about it,
getting your
Hadi.
flowers.
You stop me now. But no, seriously, Hadi, this is your work. And I know you've had other partners along the way that have contributed, but Hadi, the ball is round is you. So congratulations, and I know you, as Elias mentioned, you've welcomed me with open arms since the first time we spoke, and you've been guiding me to do the right things, So thank you for continuing this podcast to reach this milestone, because as much as I celebrate tonight with you guys, I think you guys deserve the big celebration. You guys have been the troopers. So I went on a tangent there, but yes, I am in cloud 9 right now because we are in the playoffs, right? So anyway, we'll get into that.
Exactly, we'll get into that. Thanks for the kind words, guys. But the ball is round is everybody's podcast, and all the three of us right now are the ones really doing all the work. Now, I want to thank everybody that has sent me their video to congratulate us. Thanks a lot. So many good names, so many good guests. It was impossible for us to get all the guests that we had on the show, or else it would have been a 30-minute video.
At the 300th.
But no, it would have been really too long. So thanks for everybody that had sent me that video. And of course, thanks to all the other guests that have participated in this show throughout the years. There's something, guys, that I want to tell you. Paul said it very, very well. And by the way, I know Patrick has been listening to us and says, Paul, Patrick and our friend Roberto have been listening to us since the beginning. And when I say the beginning, because for people that don't know, that show wasn't called The Ball is Round. It was called Soccer by Paul and Hadi. Thanks, Naji. He's a colleague of mine. Thanks a lot. So so it was called Soccer by Paul and Hadi, and we were talking about European football first because we didn't know what to talk about. And then Paul came with this crazy idea, as he said, you know what, let's talk about Montreal Impact. And we started doing that. And then we started having some good viewership. And then Sam joined the team. And then we were like, okay, it cannot be called Soccer by Paul and Hadi with Sam being here all the time. So we rebranded to The Ball is Round. So it's been a wonderful experience. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be amazing for the next while. But you know what? Enough about us. We're not here to talk about us. We're here to talk about the local soccer teams that we cover. When we say the local soccer teams, We're talking about CF Montreal. We're talking about Roses FC, hopefully next year and in the next few weeks for sure. And we're here also to talk about the men's national team, the women's national team. This is what we want to do. This is what drives us. It's not fame. It's nothing else. We love soccer. We love to talk about it. That's what we're going to do. Nothing else. So let's talk about CF Montreal, guys. An amazing game against New York City FC. I think we were all hyped coming into that game because, first of all, Elias and Andy are always optimistic, so they were hyped.
We have a brand.
I was hyped because
imagine a show just between the two of us.
we would get nothing done. We'd get absolutely nothing done.
Everything
you
is
know
so
what?
good.
I was thinking about it. Imagine Eve was still on the show. How would she had like approached this show, because there's nothing negative about this whole week. So
why didn't Wanyama play? No, just kidding.
Yeah. There is one thing that's negative, and we need to talk about it right now before we go into the more positive stuff. Montreal 127, the supporters group, that was their last game. They're disbanding next year. So we talked about it a bit briefly, but the third supporters group of CF Montreal will no longer be here next year. So that's a bit sad, because I know a lot of people from there, and they've been really faithful supporters down the years. But hopefully we can bring them back to the table one day. Roberto's saying that for the pessimistic takes, he's here. You're right, Robbie. We know you're here, so that's great.
We have the entire Montreal fan base for the pessimistic takes. Don't
Exactly. So
there's no
moving on, let's see CF Montreal coming into that game needed. Oh yeah, Eric is asking, will 127 not be here on Tuesday for the plane? I don't know. We should ask them. I know they did all their farewell during that day on Saturday. Sorry, yesterday. So I don't know if they're going to be there. Maybe they're not going to be there as 127. Maybe they're going to be there just as, the supporters that they are. We'll see. I don't have any inside information, Eric. Not really sure. CF Montreal, great game. We set the table last week. We said that CF Montreal needed a draw or a win to go through, but also in order to get a game in Satsupuro, they needed to do better than DC United. And sorry, guys, I'm going to take credit for that, but I said that DC United sucked at home, and they lost 3-0.
They were horrible.
So I was very, very happy. So CF Montreal, of course, for the people that are living under a rock, won that game 2-0 against New York City FC. Let's take a look at Laurent Courtois' lineup for that game. We all know that Nathan Saliba was suspended. So we had in goal Jonathan Sirois. As central defenders, George Campbell on the right, Gabriel Corbo in the middle of the back three, and Fernando Alvarez as the left center back. The wing backs, we had Raheem Edwards on the left. We had Jacques Marchal-Rudy on the right. In the middle of the pitch, Samuel Piet with Joel Waterman. We were pretty sure this was going to happen. And up front, great job from Laurent Courtois to not break that great relationship between the top three, Bryce Duke, Caden Clark, and Joseph Martinez. Guys, were you surprised with that starting lineup? I start with you, Andy. Did you think something else was going to happen?
Honestly, I kept checking my phone, and I was like, when is that lineup going to come up? Because they kept saying who's going to replace. That was the talk of the week, right? When I saw Waterman, I was like, I mean, I don't know. It can't be bad. I mean, we're okay with a tie, so we're not going to ask him to score 5 goals today, right? We're just asking him to play the minimum defense, in my opinion. So I think he could be good. So anyways, I was pleasantly surprised. I was happy at how little of change there was. That everything stayed fairly the same. If it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So I think Joel Waterman's job was just to try to do his best replacement of Saliba, but yeah, that's what I was feeling about the lineup.
Elias.
And I talked about it last week. I was a little concerned about how negative that lineup would be. With Joe Waterman and Samuel Piet together in the middle, and we'll talk about it later because it showed. But ultimately, I think that you know what, you have to weigh the difference. You have to weigh breaking up that front three, and you have to weigh having a bit more negative midfield. And Laurent Courtois picked the latter. And I mean, you can't fault them. They won 2-0.
You know what, Elias? I kind of agree with you. The only thing is that for me, for those games, it doesn't matter. The tactics don't matter. The positioning doesn't matter. The quality doesn't matter. It's the players with the most heart that win.
Yeah.
And CF Montreal showed how much heart they had. They just won with their heart and not with tactics, not with everything. And we'll talk about it, of course, during the show because nothing was perfect during that game. But you know what?
Far from.
It's a 2-0 victory against a very, very good team. Everybody played their heart out during that game. You can't fault anybody during that game. I don't think so. So let's talk about those players.
Before we
Go
get
ahead,
into that,
Andy.
sorry. So I actually made it late to the game for one reason or the other. Okay, and I was watching it.
Unacceptable, man. Unacceptable. You're kicked out. Let's go out.
I'm letting you know it's acceptable to be late to things. Anyways, I was watching it on TV, and you can't really feel the vibe when you're listening. But when I don't know what you guys felt, but yesterday when I went into that stadium, in Saputo Stadium, the environment in the stadium was just so beautiful. So it was special, guys. And for the last one match, game match, it was just everybody was just. I just wanted to point that out. How yesterday it was just Stade Saputo was just blowing. It was incredible. I loved it. Before the goals, it was just crazy. Anyways, I wanted to point that out. How beautiful it is to go to Stade Saputo on for a game. Incredible, regardless of the weather.
Probably helped them navigate that opening 15 minutes too, because that was not good.
Yeah. Eve, get out of that body of what's going on, man, Elias.
Hey, I have eyes. I have eyes, man. I'm naturally optimistic, but I also have eyeballs, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about individual performances. Of course, as usual, we'll go line by line. So let's start with Jonathan Sirois. Andy, Jonathan Sirois has been criticized this year. Has been really a lot of people saying that he wasn't even MLS caliber, which in my opinion was a bit too harsh.
Yeah.
You guys, Elias, Andy, have said that distribution-wise, he's not up to par. How did you find his game? All the aspects of his game during that final game of the regular season.
You know what? I thought it was probably the one that I saw him most confident in front of the net. He seemed very in control and honestly, game changer. He really, I think he played incredibly. But it doesn't take away that his distribution is still crap. It really is bad. I mean, if I'm just, again, I know I say it every show, I kind of like to point out the stats, and you guys tell me the stats don't say the whole game. That's true, 1,000%. But long balls, 4 out of 26.
Yeah, but like long balls, it's not about Jonathan Sirois only.
Of course.
Other player have to fight for it, right? So,
but I mean,
we have no tall player. We don't have any tall player to win a header, right?
Have you seen Sunusi Ibrahim jump? But no, anyways, it's the point being is, yes, of course, it's not all his fault. It's a combination of the two, but it's sometimes it's still every pass that he doesn't complete is a turnover. So as a whole, I think he had a fantastic game because he was present, he was in control, he didn't make any major mistakes. I think some of his defenders made mistakes, which we'll talk about later, but I do think that his distribution is still a problem. I think it's a phase that if he can maybe just improve a little bit heading into the playoffs, it can make a huge difference for this team. That's what I think is that missing ingredient, because at some point he just becomes a one-trick pony, right? So that he can only do one thing, and that's a problem. So, but he's young.
Okay.
He's very
Okay.
young. He's very, very young.
Wow.
So
Okay, one trick pony. Elias, do you agree with that assessment?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, yeah, but when you look at the performance overall today, and then you look at the amount of possession that they gave up, you look at the amount of shots they gave up. The big focus is his shot stopping, and this felt a lot more like last year's Jonathan Sirois, right? He made some big saves. He claimed some crosses in some really important moments. He helped deflate the attack and just kind of reset everything. This is the Jonathan Sirois that we had last year, the one that would steal you points. Now, I don't think he stole points on his own. I think it was very much a collective effort last night. But, there were more and more of those games this year where you think to yourself, last year he would have stolen a point, or last year he would have stolen a win, right? And again, that's a lot of pressure to put on just your keeper, especially such a young keeper. But we saw it again last night. And granted, in this run of form where they've been excellent, he hasn't had to do all that much, as we've talked about in the shows and in our our recaps. But also, I was there. He did his job. That's it, right? Today, or last night rather, he actually had to do something, and he had to do a whole lot. And yeah, that one save off the half volley at the top of the box. I forget who took the shot where he was all over it, and that was a big ooh save, and the crowd got into it. That was nice, and that was eye catching. But it's the 90 minutes of performance where he controlled the back three. He was claiming everything. It was his space, and that's the Jonathan Sirois that is not only MLS caliber, but now if you string those together, all of a sudden you're back in the national team picture, and you're asking real questions about that number 2 role, because it's still up for grabs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's still up for grabs. But also, I think, Eddie, you were a bit harsh, in my opinion, with Jonathan Sirois. We're talking about that game. Of course, distribution-wise, he's still lacking in that.
I'm trying to
agree
be
with that
negative.
100%. But, calling him a one-trick pony, for me, it's a bit too much. Yes, shot stopping is his main quality. I think he was clutch yesterday with some clutch saves. But not only that, what I really liked from Jonathan Sirois is that he commanded his area. He was able to command his area, to catch all the long balls. Whenever there was a through ball, he would go and grab it, either in the air or on the floor. Like, this is something that we haven't seen much of Jonathan Sirois this year. He controlled his all penalty area. And this is something that's very, very important in modern football. And he showed that yesterday. And that's what we want to see from Jonathan Sirois. And for such an important game, having a keeper understand the pressure and own it is not something that's very, very common. This is what we get from Jonathan Sirois. He's a young keeper. Yes, he's not very, very young anymore. He's 23, but he can learn a lot still. Of course, I agree with Wellington saying he has a long way to go. Of course, 100%. But already the basics, being able to support the pressure, being able to command the area under pressure, being able to do those clutch saves under pressure for an important game, these are qualities that are not common for a goalkeeper. Now, of course, let's work on his distribution. Let's work on getting him better with the ball with his feet, and then we'll get a very complete goalkeeper. And it's going to take time. It's not going to take a couple of games. It's going to take a year or two. But hopefully we'll see that finished product very soon when he's under contract with CF Montreal and not elsewhere, hopefully. Moving on, the back line, guys. George Campbell, Gabriele Corbo, and Fernando Alvarez. Elias, your man was in the middle. Gabriele Corbo was there. He was back in the position that you like. Tell me all about it. Tell me all about those three players.
No, I think this was without Waterman there. Remember, this was the back three that initially launched this run of form with Joe Waterman injured after the international break, right? So it's not like this is a brand new back three that hasn't really played together, that you don't really know what you're going to get. And what you got once again was a very composed, very reasoned and effective dismantling. Because yeah, they allowed 16 shots, but at the end of the day, when you allow like 1.5 xG on 16 shots, that's that's a lot of very low quality chances, and you saw it, right? There were no real moments where you're like, oh my god, they are so lucky that didn't go in, right? There were some half chances, maybe that volley is one of them that produced a great save for Jonathan Sirois, but was there really any massive breakdowns in defense? And yes, that leads into how effective Piet and Waterman were as a duo. We'll get into that after. But as a back three, as a core three, where you have to handle, again, some really high-powered offense from NYCFC. That is their brand. They had, once again, a very composed. Nothing really shook them, and there was no point in the 90 minutes where they looked to be on the heels. Even when there was like 5 corners in a row or something, they didn't look like they were on their heels. They controlled every aspect of that back line.
Yeah, no, I agree. Andy, we talked about, and Wellington is talking about George Campbell. We talked about George Campbell and how much he improved in the last few games and becoming a very important member of that back line. How important was he during this game? And the same for his counterpart with Fernando Alvarez.
Did you guys see his run? George Campbell's run. When I saw that in the stadium, you just see a big boy just running all the way up. You're like, oh my god, that's not supposed to happen. And then he again, as far as his influence, I think he's been proving it to us in the last half of the season, especially during the good run, that he's understanding his role. He's getting very comfortable regardless who's on his side, because he played the first half of the season with Rouen, and now he's playing it with JMR, and sometimes even with David Bougage. I think he's a crucial part. Be his passing, his defending, guys. His defending is impressive. How he defends, and on set pieces too. He's very active on set pieces. Yesterday he had a stop on one of the shots. I forgot from I believe it was Martinez, a wide open shot from Martinez. But anyways, I really like how he played. Gabriel Corbo, I love his long passing. I think he does great. Just sometimes his short passing is not the best one that I've seen, but yeah, his long passing is impressive. Yesterday, I wasn't very impressed with Fernando Alvarez's performance, especially because I don't know if it was his fault necessarily, but he seemed to be out of sync with Raheem Edwards when in a few times during the game, like maybe 4 or 5. Again, I know we're not talking about the wingbacks right now, but it did seem to be something that was not working between the two, because there were a lot of passes that just literally went out of bounds. It wasn't even turnovers; it was out of bounds. So that's what I think. The only part that kind of surprised me a little bit about the back line, I guess, the Fernando Alvarez side.
Yeah, and I saw a difference between the first half and the second half with the back line. I feel that in the first half that back line was very hesitant, very, very hesitant. A lot of times I saw George Campbell, and at first I didn't realize, and then I was talking to my friend Eric Chenois that you saw in the video, and he was like, I was like, yeah, I was watching it in the second half, and I'm like, George Campbell is having a nice game, and he told me, yeah, but not in the first half, and then came back home and I watched the replay, and I was like, yeah, he's right, because in the first half, he was going a bit everywhere. He was advancing a bit more. He wasn't in sync with the rest of his teammates, while defending. It's okay when we're in an offensive situation for him to go and bring that extra man up. But defending, sometimes he was a bit all over the place. And the same thing for Fernando Alvarez. I feel that they were very confused by the tactics of New York City FC. And they adjusted during halftime. And I think I love what Sam Savvy is saying here. Courtois has done very well recently and has contributed immensely for the recent wins. He says nothing has changed, but I kind of doubt it. His in-game decisions are much sharper and decisive. I completely agree with Sam, because I feel that Laurent Courtois is learning a bit more tactically, and adjusting himself with the small little details that made that defense go from a bad showing in the first half to a very good showing in the second, in my opinion. Let's move on to the wingbacks role. We had Jaquil Marshall-Rutty on the right, Raheem Edwards on the left. Andy, you did talk a bit about the relationship between Fernando Alvarez and Raheem Edwards. Do you think that Raheem Edwards was a stranger to this, or he was the one that you're pointing fingers at?
It was weird. I don't even know who to point fingers at here, because I kind of similar to you, Hadi. I kind of came back home and was rewatching, and I just kind of like replaying it to see who's the one that's not here. But they both seem to be out of sync with each other, and again, I don't know if it has something to do with them maybe not understanding what they were expecting of one another. And I think this was all in the first half. I might be wrong. There might have been some in the second half as well, but it did happen a few times. So, but I did like Raheem Edwards, the way that he played defensively. I think he defended really well. Offensively, I mean, it's debatable. It's really, I really don't know what to say. He's fantastic or good, or I don't know. I like. I know we've spoken about before about JMR's performance, how he meshes really well with George Campbell, and I like that yesterday. I felt like JMR was testing out a little bit more the waters offensively. Like he was really like the first goal was started by him by being really up high and taking the ball away. And I just think I felt like yesterday he was testing it out, getting a little more confident to take the ball up. And yeah, I think it's coming with minutes, with giving him time to work, to play, and all that. He's starting to really learn the role, embrace the role. But yeah, as I said, I thought they had a great performance, at least defensively, both of them.
Yeah, I agree with your take on Jaquil Marshall-Rutty. I think defensively, I saw a lot of people really criticize him because he's not bringing that added value going forward. Yeah. But you know what, George Campbell, he's giving that space to George Campbell. George Campbell is able to go forward because Jaquil Marshall-Rutty is the one really trying to play that defensive role whenever George Campbell goes forward. And I think it's becoming a bit confusing for the opposing team.
Yeah, I mean,
because they don't really know who's going to be forward. Is it Jaquil or is it going to be George? And I think that's very interesting. I love what Jaquil Marshall-Rutty is bringing. I feel that he needs to be a bit more decisive when he comes to the final third. Completely agree with that. Raheem Edwards, I think, had a disgusting first half, but a very, very good second half. This is my opinion. I saw that the second half he went forward. And he went forward whenever he needed to go forward. He was able to bring also to cut in the midfield, to add that extra man in the midfield whenever we needed to. A bit like what Wilfried Nancy was asking from Mathieu Chouanière. When he was playing as a wing back. We saw a bit more of that from Raheem Edwards, and I really like that. Elias, do you agree with our assessment of those two wing backs?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that not everyone is going to take to a new team like Caden Clark is, right?
Yeah.
Jaquil Marshall-Rutty has shown good things, has shown some things he needs to work on, but at the end of the day, there's a lot more positive than negative in his game. At his age, in a new club where he was kind of just thrown into the mix halfway through the season, right? I do like the partnership he's developing, yes, with George Campbell, but more importantly with Bryce Duke. I think they combined really well on the right side, especially in the second half. I think that they were able to relieve a lot of the pressure just because they do have this ability to play in tight spaces, which, will open up spaces elsewhere. But I think that will be his way into, integrating further into the squad. It's developing these relationships with players rather than becoming tuned in tactically. I think that'll also help. But I think with him, it's more just find partnerships that work. We saw that his partnership with George Campbell works. So defensively, it's looked really good since he got here. Offensively, what leaves to be desired, I don't think it's a tactical problem. I just think that he needs to get to know his forwards and his midfielders better. So what I'm seeing,
I agree,
this relationship with Bryce Duke is headed in the right direction. It's still not where it needs to be, especially when you consider the impact that Juan had. But when you look at his technical quality and what his ceiling could be, these relationships are all the more important to build. And I can't wait to see what happens after an entire offseason and training camp of doing just that.
No, I completely agree with you and with that assessment. I like what Jules is saying. He's saying if we want to go far in the playoffs, I meant to say we need to improve defensively. I agree with him 100%. But if you think about it, Julia, and everybody here listening, guys, Montreal has only conceded 6 goals in the last 8 games. That's how much they improved defensively. If we look at the season, yes, of course, they were really bad. And I think they beat the record of the most conceded goals in the history of CF Montreal since they joined the MLS. But I think that we're heading into the right direction defensively. And I feel that, Laurent Courtois found his tactics, his defensive tactics with Campbell, Alvarez, Corbo, or Waterman, depending in the middle of the back three. And I feel that we're getting better. Now, is it going to be enough? Is it too little, too late? Or is it going to be enough, going forward in the playoffs? We'll talk about that a bit later in our next segment. Let's move to our midfield. Joel Waterman was a starter in that midfield next to Samuel Piette. Elias, we were talking, we talked about it here on The Ball is Round, but also we're both guests on the show from Can FC also, and we talked about it too there, and we weren't really sure who was going to be chosen by Laurent Courtois. Now, you did say that there were some limits to that duo of Piette and Joel Waterman. Tell me more about it, Elias.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw it, especially in the opening phases of the first half. Defensively, yeah, their shape looked great because it's two defensive-minded players. It's two players that can work off the ball, like who win their 50-50 battles, who could intercept. Like everything you need from defensive midfielders, you've got it. But the reason that Samuel Piette and Nathan Saliba or Mathieu Choinière, whichever one, worked so well is that Samuel Piette did the dirty work, which let Saliba or Choinière get forward, hurt defenses or hurt opponents that committed too many numbers forward. Joel Waterman can pick out a pass really well and can play very coolly under pressure, but he's not going to drive the ball forward. Samuel Piette's not going to drive the ball forward and hurt this very high line. So New York were basically given free license to set up shop as high as possible. Now, it resulted in a really impressive team effort when defending. It wasn't just, we'll win the ball and then we'll hurt you on the counter. No, everyone had to get behind the ball at certain points. And so I liked what I saw in that capacity where they could just kind of close up shop because, you want them to play beautiful football, but sometimes when you need a result, you put plywood on the windows and you don't let anyone in. And they did that. So yeah, that was my concern. And I'm assuming that Laurent Courtois, the way he lined up, he knew what he was in for, right? He didn't seem too surprised after in the post-game press conference. He didn't seem too surprised with the fact that they had 40% of the ball, or they were outshot 16-4, I think, right? So this seemed to be what he expected, and he put his faith in his team, and they delivered. So I mean, ultimately, I can't be too critical because they did exactly what they were asked of. But the limitations on this midfield were made evident right away, and they did suffer for it. So against better teams that are more clinical and can hurt you more, it's not ideal.
Andy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so honestly, I do think that Joel Waterman had a fantastic game. He did the job that he had to do, in my opinion. I mean, he did similar to what Elias is saying. Is like it's similar. Two players that played similar defensively and don't have that say offensive instinct that a lot of these other midfielders like Choinière or Nathan Saliba would have. There was a particular moment, I think it was in the second half, where the Joel Waterman saw the ball in front of him, and it almost like it took him a quick second to think, oh wait, I'm supposed to actually get it and try to create something because I'm playing midfield right now. It literally looked at like he had to think twice before he could actually do anything offensively. But I think Joel Waterman, I'll say like this, for the position that he was placed in after I think he had 2 practices with CF Montreal back from the national team, he did a great job in my opinion. As for Samuel Piette, guys, I think we are seeing the best version of Samuel Piette we have seen in a very long time. It's almost like the revival of a Samuel Piette, someone that is just And I have no idea if it has to do anything with the exclusion of the national team, but he is playing at a different level. He is everywhere in the field, and he's leading the team. He really is leading the team. So I'm very positive on Samuel Piet. He does what he has to do. Joel Waterman did what he had to do. Even got a yellow card in it. So that's it. That's my opinion on the midfield.
Yeah, you know what? I of course, if we were expecting Joel Waterman to come and dribble 6 players and give an assist, then I think we weren't really realistic, going forward. Like, of course, it was going to be a more defensive midfield. But you know what? I think playing against a team like New York City FC, I think that's exactly what was needed. That was exactly what the doctor ordered, because look at that starting 11 from New York City FC. Okay, you have ball players. You have Hannes Wolf, you have Maxi Morales, and you have Santiago Rodriguez on the left. You have Martinez up front. That's also a very good ball player. And you have the two midfielders with Sands and Keaton Parks. They like to play with the ball. They like to play with possession, even if most of their goals came into transition this year. So you needed that extra help in the midfield. And you know what? It showed. And you know what? We were able to find and create opportunities without going through the midfield. Of course, having a Nathan Saliba could have been a better fit in most games. But I think that in this game, the play wasn't going to go through midfield from CF Montreal. It needed to either go win the ball very high on the pitch and create something, or down the wings. And that's exactly what we saw. And I think it was the right tactics against that team. Now, Joel Waterman, he said it in the post-game presser. He said it, oh my God, I don't know how much they ran. Yeah.
I don't want to do this
Those
anymore.
midfielders ran a lot. I have to give them credit. Don't forget that a central defender doesn't run as much as midfielders. So he's not built for that kind of play. He's able to do it for one game, but can he do it on 5-6 games? No, he cannot. And it's not what's requested of him. We saw at one time Rudy Camacho doing that job also in the past. So you know what? Honestly, we need to underline and to make sure that we congratulate Joel Waterman for what he did. Mm-hmm. It wasn't easy. And you know what? He was able to keep us in the game. He was able to play that game without being too bad. He made a very costly mistake at one point.
My God.
We were very lucky to see that shot go off target. But you know what? I think he's been very good during that game. And Samuel Piet, completely agree with you, Andy. He's been stellar this year. This whole year, he was so good. And you know what? This guy deserves to be on the national team. I don't care what anybody says. He deserves it so much. So hopefully we'll see him back with the Les Rouges one day. And Wellington agrees with you, Andy.
I met him last night. I saw him last night. Shout out to Wellington, man.
Exactly.
Nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wellington likes Andy. So that's good. So that's amazing. Moving on.
But Hadi, I wanted to point out something, okay? Beyond the individual, because I know we talk individual players, but the past few games, something we've noticed with the team as well is the positioning as a group of players that is actually frustrating the opponents. We saw New York grow very frustrated with the defense. Again, beyond individual performances, they complemented the midfield with the defense very well. That a lot of balls that New York City sent and other opponents in the past have been sent have gone out of bounds.
Yeah.
Simply because they're blocked or so. Something that we've seen improve a lot in the past few games is the positioning, where they're at tactically, where they're positioned, that it actually frustrates very good attack. And by the way, do you guys remember that Martinez miss where he like did something with his foot? I'm not sure what he did, but it was very early in the game that I thought he was it was a clear scoring chance, and I don't know what the heck he did. So New York really didn't do well in that department either of like
a very bad defensive performance from New York City FC. I completely agree with you. I think they were very, very bad defensively. But you know what? Good for us.
Yes,
Moving on with the front three. Bryce Duke, Caden Clark, Joseph Martinez. Andy, I'll let you start. I just want to, before you start, I just want to say something because I think it's the first time that I see that from our friend Wellington.
What is it?
For the first time in 34 games, I saw Bryce Duke fighting spirit throughout the game. This guy has talent, but inconsistency is the issue with him. Congrats to Duke. So he's saying congrats, but he takes a jab at him still. So what did you think about the front three?
Take what you can get. You take what you can get.
Exactly. Bryce, you should be happy tonight.
Hey, Wellington was in a good mood yesterday. He was very happy, and honestly, guys, Wellington's a great person, and he was talking to Hattie and I yesterday, and just was super happy about the performance last night. Anyways, how do I try to be negative about the front three guys? Bryce Duke had a great performance. Caden Clark, I believe he had an assist and a goal, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he had those two things which were really, really crucial in the game. But the rest of the game, beyond those two moments, I wasn't very impressed with his performance. Those are very crucial moments, and they got us the win, which is what we want. We want to win. But the rest of the time, and I was looking again at the stats because that's what I do, and I saw that he like my eyes didn't lie. He had 13 turnovers, and it was obvious. And then he got taken out, I think, in the 60-something minute. I think Bryce Duke did well. He stayed there the whole 90 minutes, and he did really well. And then Joseph Martinez, guys, I said it before. I remember in the Charlotte game that we lost 2-0, where he got furious at Opoku's run. And I told you guys that time that one of the things that I absolutely love seeing about this player is that the intelligence of his games, like the way he thinks about the game. He's like 3 steps ahead of his where his defenders are or where his partners are. You can see it. You can almost see like before the ball hits his legs, you can see that he's already thinking what's going to happen. And that's exactly what we saw in the first goal in Bryce Duke. He just did a little move that completely displaced the NYCFC defense, and that's it. He gave Caden Clark an easy goal, but it takes a special kind of striker to do that, to have that kind of intelligence and that quickness to read a game. And guys, what kind of striker? Tell me, what kind of striker in the past, I want to say maybe 5 years, have we had that would be that unselfish to make him to use his body as a dummy? Because that's what he's doing. He keeps using it as a dummy because he knows how much defenses are paying attention to him because he's very skilled, and instead he gives chances to others around him.
Yeah, he has a very good football IQ, right? So he scores goals and he makes the players around him very, very good. Yeah, he's been very, very, very good for us in the last 8 games. And you know what? This is what we expected from Joseph Martinez since day one, since he joined the club. So it took him a bit of time, but you know what? He's delivering right now. He's delivering. And but Andy, what about Caden Clark?
So, like I said, he had very, very good moments, which I think were crucial. But I still was unimpressed around those moments.
Yeah, but like you need to be clutch.
Yes, that's what I said. I think it's great that he did that, and I think that's why people are saying that he's the next big thing because he shows up when he has to. But at the same time, if he doesn't do those two things, he didn't have that good of a performance beyond those two things. But that's my opinion. That's the way I saw it because I kept trying to see
why not?
What else.
Boo, negative Andy. Boo, negative Andy.
Negative Andy.
I'm back.
Elias, what did you think about those two?
No, look, I understand what Andy means by that, and to that point, I don't disagree. I just think that when you look at the overall context of what was needed especially from Duke and Clark, I'm not too mad at that because at the end of the day, if you're going into this game saying we're going to absorb pressure, we're going to play to hit back on the counter, then it is just, especially if you're forwards, it's all moments. It's all the quality of your game is all moments. and they made those moments count, right? At the end of the day, they had 2 or 3 moments and they scored 2. So, from an offensive perspective, they went into the game fully aware that you're not going to get a lot. So you have to make it count. And they did. And Samuel Piet talked about it after the game. And this is one of the reasons that even if I think they'll do better than expected in the playoffs. But even if they don't, for next season, this is what fills me with optimism, for lack of a better word. It's the fact that, Piet and the leaders and just the team as a unit said, Bryce, Caden, you're not going to enjoy the ball that much today. We need you to defend. And we need you to do a lot of the dirty work and a lot of the difficult, grimy stuff that forwards don't really love doing, but it's necessary for tonight. And you'll have your games where you get to enjoy 60% of the ball, and you'll have 100 touches, and you'll have, 3 shots on target, and you'll have all that. Tonight is not that night. And they were like, okay, I'll do that, right? Caden Clark didn't, he turned the ball over, and, outside the goals, he didn't do a lot much offensively, but his work defensively, helping out Raheem Edwards on that right side, especially in the midfield, really good. Bryce Duke, if you're going to get praise from Wellington, then you know that he did work off the ball. He put his body on the line, and he's not, even if he's the same height as Samuel Piet, he's not Samuel Piet. That's fine. But he was there, right? Which is the very least you could ask of him. He went into every challenge. He didn't back off, kind of like the Bryce Duke we saw earlier in the season that was, at best apathetic about 50-50 challenges.
Yeah.
Last night, and, more and more consistently, he's going into that, and he's found, in French we say couteau entre les dents, right? He has that bit of that snap of aggression that, maybe Kane Clark brought it out of him. Maybe he's 101 other things, but it's that kind of performance that's so important. Where, remember, this team is far from that standard of Columbus where they're going to play every team off the pitch, right? They're good. There's a lot of quality there, but they're not at that point yet, which means there will be games where you have to concede that we can't play you off the field, so we have to beat you another way. And performances like this, especially from the forwards, are what tell me, okay, so they go into a game like that, they can kind of Nashville it out where you just park the bus and you rely on moments. That's why I think, offensively fine. But right, and Joseph Martinez, what is there to say about Martinez that hasn't already been said, right? I mean, it's again, he's found this flow state where he just is, for all the terrible decisions he made in the first 2/3 of the season, he's made every single right decision for the last 8 games.
Yeah.
And
flawless.
You can't say anything else. It's just purely from a decision-making standpoint, he has been perfect.
Yeah.
So you know what? He deserves all that. And I saw people, they're still debating whether or not to pick him up on his option.
There is no debate. There's no debate.
There's no way they don't pick him up on his option, because again, we talked about this. If you get 20 games, not even 25 or 30, you get 20 games of this kind of Joseph Martinez, then it's not just worth it. It's an absolute bargain. So I mean, there's no world where they can lose. They can get shut out by Atlanta on Tuesday, and they're still picking up his option. That's not even.
Yeah, but like, you know what? Picking up his option is something, but if he doesn't want to be there, then you're not going to pick up his option. So we always say it's a club option, but at the same time, do you want a player that doesn't want to be here next year? So
I don't know.
hopefully he still wants to be here.
That's a real
year.
conversation.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's a conversation anymore.
But
he's enjoying his football.
I have a question for both of you guys. Do you think that Caden Clark, the presence of Caden Clark in this starting lineup, has taken the pressure off of Bryce Duke that he used to have before he came, and that has made a huge difference in his game? What do you guys think that
they used to play with 2 strikers and a 10? Now they play with 2 10s and a striker. So
it
lets Bryce Duke float a lot more. It lets him do. It kind of reminds me when they played him as an 8 almost, and they had 2 strikers and.
It's not 2 10s, right? It's not 2 10s, right? It's 1 10, 1 9 and a half, and 1 striker.
From a responsibility purpose, it's not. But from a positional standpoint, it is. Where it
depends.
doesn't.
It depends because
it's not like I need Bryce Duke to be everywhere all the time impacting play now. It's like, no, I need Bryce Duke to make sure he's in the right spot. And when he feels like he can impact play, I will trust him to impact play. And he's done that, right? And that's what happened in the first goal, right? He was completely outside everyone's line of sight. No one was thinking about Bryce Duke until he found himself in the right spot. He got on the ball and he made the play. And I think that is where it takes the pressure off him. It's just that he doesn't have to be everywhere
I
all
agree.
the time now.
I agree 100% that it has, the presence of Caden Clark helped Bryce Duke, but I think that the presence of Caden Clark also helped Joseph Martinez. And I think that Martinez is helping those two, and Bryce Duke is helping the other two. So, like, I feel the three of them, the three of them together are such a solid unit, and they complete each other in a way where it's very difficult to remove one of those three. Yeah, exactly.
When we talk about next season, right?
You complete.
No, it's very difficult to remove one of those three from the equation, because think about it. Okay, you talked about 2 10s and a 9. I don't completely agree with that, because it's a 10, it's a 9.5, and it's a 9, right? So the reason behind it is that 9.5, that means that you can play as an offensive midfielder, so you can help out defensively, you can play between the line, but also you can play as a striker. So he's like, Caden Clark is playing those three roles at the same time, and that's exactly what he needed to do in every team that he was called upon. Now he's very, very good doing that, and having that liberty is helping him. At the same time, Bryce Duke, having that much work done next to him is helping him just do what he can do, and do what he does best is find his teammates, use his vision, because he has very good vision on the pitch, and he's doing that. And at the same time, Joseph Martinez is just doing, being there for the finish. The finish, and when we say the finish, it's either the assist or the goal, or creating space, and that's what he's doing. So all three of them are gelling so well together that it's beautiful to see. Now, are they going to be able to gel together very well on a whole season next year or the year after? That remains to be seen. But as of right now, they're on form, and they're coming in hot for the play-in and for the playoffs. So hopefully that will do us good. Moving on, guys, subs. We had quite a few subs. We're going to talk about them as we usually do in a bunch, so we're not going to talk about each one of them. So we had Joaquin Sosa that came in, Sunusi Ibrahim, and Jules Anthony Vilsan. Sosa came in for Samuel Piet, which was very surprising. And Sunusi Ibrahim and Jules Anthony Vilsan came in for Joseph Martinez and Caden Clark. Elias, what did you think about those changes? And what did you think about their performance?
I feel bad for Sunusi and Vilsain, because at that point, Montreal had firmly committed to the low
Parking
block,
the bus. Yeah.
and they had nothing.
Mhm.
And they brought the right energy, right? At the end of the day, they brought exactly what was needed in terms of the same message relayed to Duke and Clark. We need you to defend. So they didn't really get the chance to do a whole lot going forward. They didn't do anything going forward. But that was more given the state of the game, and it's not really a comment on them, because at the end of the day, when you have 9 players behind the ball, you're not going to end up doing a whole lot unless you kind of capitalize on a mistake, and NYCFC didn't really make any mistakes. So yeah, they were there, they brought the right energy, and they definitely helped the defensive effort. So I think Laurent Courtois will definitely take note of that. But I think I agree with Eric. Honestly, they're brought in to give recovery for Martinez, and yeah, like at the end of the day, Martinez is not a spring chicken, and he does need rest. And when you're up to nothing, you can rest your striker. So that's all I have to say about that. Joaquin Sosa had a 5-minute cameo. I mean, at the end of the day, when the center back core of those 4 are so good and playing so well, there's nothing you could do but be one of the odd men out. So I guess you have to take your cameos where you get them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Andy, I think, okay, let's face it, Joaquin Sosa, as you said, Elias didn't play much. Jean-Anthony Vilsa, in my opinion, was a bit disappointing, but he hasn't played in a while. But I think the only player that really brought something on the pitch was Sunusi.
Yeah.
I really liked the way he played with his back to the goal. He was able to help quite a few times. He was able to get the ball and just give it right away to his teammates. I like a very positive substitution. I think for very positive cameo for Sunusi Ibrahim, in my opinion, and it shows that he's growing. Even if he had just a few minutes, I feel that this player has grown and is still in the plans for CF Montreal. Did you like the performance of your boy?
My boy. I mean, yeah, he was. I think Elias and you said it all, right? Like, I mean, there wasn't much to say. I think it was Laurent Courtois chose the right moment to do these substitutions. Honestly, when Jules Anthony Vilsain lost his shoe, I was like, another injury here. But luckily, it was just a lost shoe. But yeah, it was nothing much to say. I think the only one that did anything say remarkable was Ibrahim Sunusi. That's it. Like, as similar to you, like you said, the movements he made, he has potential, but 90 minutes of that would be nice. We'll see, maybe next year. But yeah, that's it. Nothing much to say beyond that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a good showing. So I think this is gonna wrap up the game and what we had for the games, the CF Montreal game. Before we move on to Laurent Courtois' interview, because we were lucky enough to have the interview, Eddie did a small montage of some of the episodes that we had throughout the year. So we'll show you that. It's going to be a short clip, and then we'll go directly to Laurent Courtois' interview. Of course, the interview was pre-recorded, so it was recorded on Thursday. So let's move on right away. So, Elias, let's go.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of The Ball is Round, an all-Montreal soccer podcast that will mostly dissect what's going on in Montreal and in Quebec.
100 episodes. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
It went so fast, man.
Right?
It did, man. It did. Paul Vance, for those who don't know and who have been following us just not too long ago, Paul Vance and I, we were the co-founders of Soccer by Paul and Hattie, who later became The Ball is Round.
So we're very happy to be joined by CF Montreal head coach Wilfred Nancy. Wilfred, thank you so much for accepting the invitation.
It's a pleasure.
So we have the privilege to be joined by Montreal midfielder Victor Wanyama. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, Victor.
Thank you for having me.
We are very lucky today to receive Ryan Wilkinson, a head coach of the Portland Thorns. But we all know her also as a former player for the Canadian national team, a Hall of Famer of Soccer Canada, of course. We're joined by a special guest, Alexander Gange-Ruzik. Now, if you follow a tiny bit of Canadian soccer, you know him. It's as simple as that.
Pleasure to chat football, especially Montreal. I mean, it's been how would we say, interesting. I think entertaining was the word we were throwing about before the show season and the end of season. So lots to talk about. And of course, I mean, the women's national team. That's all I could say. I guess.
We have someone that just came and is joining us right now as a surprise.
Yes, how are you, my friend?
We did it, guys.
Yes, we did
it. We did it, man. We did it. We
freaking did it, man. Oh my god.
Hey, thanks for jumping in, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yesterday we saw the CF Montreal that we like in color. That is. And first thing that came to my mind is this.
Yo, listen up. Here's the story.
What? Hattie? The suspense is killing me.
Oh, okay, you can't hear it?
I can hear it.
Oh, no, I can hear it now. Oh my god, Hattie.
I think you just tuned it out to avoid hearing it.
His house with the blue little window. Eve. I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
Manager.
Manager. Manager. Yes.
Manager.
Wait, that's
Okay.
what we should have made the title of this episode. I said I'm suffering, but I'm here. That would be the quote.
So
Yes, excuse my yawning.
as let's talk about the good stuff. Roberto asking me, Hattie, are you trying to be Eve tonight? I'm not that pessimistic. As pessimistic as I can be, I can never be Eve. It's
the COVID. It's the COVID that's done it to you.
Exactly. Maybe. Do I look that pessimistic? I don't know.
You're just asking. You're asking questions, and you're.
Of course, I am. I have to make it interesting. So a small trip down memory lane during those 200 episodes. Great montage.
You've ruined Blue for me, because every time I hear it now, I just think of you going.
Yeah, I know. Of course, man. Come on, right? We have to create memories here, right?
That was dying. I watched that video 20 times on repeat. I was like, how do you like that?
Without further wait, and we're not gonna make you wait for too long. Laurent Courtois, great interview with him.
Man.
Very excited to show you that. So let's go ahead and show our interview with Laurent Courtois on Thursday. So we're very excited today to receive and to have Laurent Courtois on our show for our 200th episode. First of all, Laurent, thank you very much for making time for us. Thanks a lot for being here for us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Perfect. So we're going to start right away. Today we're the 17th of October, so a few days before a decision day. You've had an international break in the past few days. I'm sure you had training sessions. We know you had training sessions with the group, but also I'm pretty sure you had a few days off. What did you do with all your free time?
I catch up with the. Since I start this year, I didn't do a good job of catching up with families and friends back in France and Ohio. So try to catch up on that. Went back to the gym a little bit because I got fat. What else? Watch movies, spend time with my girl, with my blonde, and that was great.
Nice.
Some good Quebecois right there.
Blonde. Exactly. Let's not talk about body image, because I'm not at all someone that we can talk about body image. Now let's move on with the next question. Now I know we heard and we know that you were conducting a lot of interviews this week. But also at the same time, which is really good, but really exhausting for you, I'm pretty sure, with a lot of interviews. Wilfried Nancy spoke in the past. He spoke about the coverage by the media, by bloggers, by podcasters here in Montreal. And he said that there's a lot more coverage here than elsewhere. Do you agree, first of all, with that assessment? And does it bring an extra layer of pressure on your shoulders yourself, because you have to, communicate a lot?
So yeah, I always been impressed because my time at Galaxy, I was able to observe a little bit the media coverage. It was not the same, and even less at Columbus. And so I was really surprised of the amount of different platform and the different type of media coverage that we can find in Montreal for sure. So yeah, it was one of my biggest adjustments, I guess.
Perfect. And does it add an extra layer of pressure for you? Do you feel more pressure than if there was less coverage?
No, because I'm scared to say something stupid, which I did. But no pressure. It's just this thing where I start to know who's trying to analyze, who's trying to kind of connect us with the audience or the fans, and who's try to kind of dig a little bit more stuff, a little bit in a gray area, let's say. So I'm slowly distinguish those, and it also goes with the vibe. So a lot of time people go, the way the results are going, or yeah. So I try to distinguish the different channels of coverage, I would say. and recognize my audience. But no, whether that's 5 or 15, for me, it's the same.
Interesting.
I promise, Laurent, we're one of the good ones. But
Oh no! It can come from spot to also try to analyze better or try to understand. So I get that. It's just that sometimes, I told a few guys, you know the answer before I arrive there. Why you ask me to say it?
I like that.
Just say it, and then I'll comment on the thing that we both know. Don't try to make me say the words that this is what I don't like, but it's part of the, I guess it's part of the job. So
Laurent, the sports industry is known for having its good and its bad moments. Of course. What is something that Laurent Courtois does to cope with bad moments, and how does he celebrate the good moments?
With the bad moments, I'm like, they have no clue, or it's not their fault, or they think they have to do this, or they need to learn. So I try to find a way to, or when somebody's challenging me, I'm like, this is gonna make you better. So I'm not doing a great job at always doing the right thing or saying the right thing, but I try to first not feel offended, but try to understand that one, maybe it's gonna make me better, and two, the other moment or is not maybe what he's used to and he's trying to discovering. So I try to make the best of it, but it's not easy. I'm of course, like everyone, I like good moments, but this is where I start to feel uncomfortable because I'm like, the other side is coming fast. So what am I missing? Instead of tapping each other's shoulder, what am I missing? What are we not doing? It's because when everybody's agree on everything, it starts to be wrong, in my opinion. So
Okay. And how would you say, maybe you already answered this question, I apologize if I'm asking it again. How would you say you celebrate a good moment to you? What's a celebration?
Depends on what moment we're talking about. If it's work related, I with the CF Montreal, I'm enjoying. That's one. Even though my face says otherwise at times, I'm really enjoying everything. And two, like I said, I'm always. It's just the nature of the job. You're just already analyzing and anticipating what's next and what are we missing. And then when it's just moments of life, you just celebrate because it can be taken away from you in a second. Sometimes you forget about this.
That's true.
I feel the answer of the first part of your question really goes well with your T-shirt and Muhammad Ali. I really like it. I really love
what
it. What
a shirt, man!
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about football, soccer. When you were a player, you dealt with different coaches, right? What would you say was the most important lesson you learned from them and that you still use today?
I would say that whether you're a terrible coach or you have everything playing A to Z, I would try to make the players believe that I believe in what I try to have them doing. I don't know if that makes sense, but might be the worst plan, but I really, really believe in it. So jump on board with me because I think that's the way we're going to be successful. Because I felt that I had too many coaches that either didn't really have a real plan of what they want to do on and off the ball. And if so, shaking with the results or the people behind them, and then they change every 2 seconds. So you want to do something, stick to it. I try to, regardless of being successful or not, because then the second you change, the players feels like you don't even believe it yourself. So why would we?
Well, I mean, you talked a bit, especially during your first press conference, you talked about playing against that famous Barcelona team. And we wanted to know throughout your career, who are some of the best players, especially defenders, given your position that you've played against and some of the best players you've had the benefit or the fortune of playing with?
playing with, I think I felt really small when I was next to Paolo Di Canio at West Ham because I was seeing soccer, I would say, in a really short range, and he was seeing everything 360. So there's a couple of times that I really felt that he was playing a really different level than me. So it raised my my awareness to be learning more of the phases of the game versus just my little tricks that I was able to do. So there's that. Then playing against Jesus Navas and Daniel Alves at the same time.
Oh wow!
Probably my worst experience because I get
Sounds
carded.
like a nightmare.
I get red carded right away. I was out of breath. They were barely breathing, and yeah, it didn't last long. Red. So.
Yeah, interesting player, Paulo Di Canio. So amazing on the pitch, but very controversial, which is which is very weird. But great player on the pitch for sure.
Do you have any particular moments with, with whether it's with Paulo or with against Jesus or Danny that sticks out to you, or anything in your moment? If you could like look back and go, that was my defining moment as a player, what would it be?
I was not. I'm not a good guy. Good example. I've never been a fan of who I play against. So I never really idolate. Is that how you say in English? Idolize. I never really idolize who I played against. I really, of course, for me, Messi, Iniesta, Redondo, Guti at Real Madrid was people that are in different class. But I was never about. I wish I was them or those guys are. I just play my game. I mean, I was chasing them for the most part, or I was on the bench. But yeah, what I know is there's atmospheres in Andalusia, south of Spain, that are way more exciting than the new camp or the Santiago Bernabeu. So I was amazed with the stadium from Andalusia in the atmosphere, Huelva, Betis, Sevilla, those type of Malaga, those type of atmosphere. Like people wants to jump on the field. It was insane.
How does Stade Saputo compare with some of the European grounds? I know that within MLS it's loud, but when you compare it to Europe, what's your takeaway?
No, for real. The Saputo atmosphere really surprised me, and I really felt like I was in Europe. And because of the language or the size of the stadium, or I don't know, there's something that reminds me a lot of Olympique Lyonnais in France, where I'm from, city in Lyon. So yeah, it's insane to find in North America, Canada, something that is so similar to my hometown. When we went to that giant stadium in Atlanta, and it felt nothing like a soccer stadium. But the thing is huge, and at Saputo you feel the heat and you feel the atmosphere. It's great.
And now let's move on to the next part of your career, the coaching career for sure. You officially semi-retired 10 years ago, and you first entered in the MLS Academy system as a coach with LA Galaxy at the time. If I'm not mistaken, you were player coach at one point. Between then and now, what steps has youth football on this side of the Atlantic taken, and how long until they can start at least measuring up to European academies, in your opinion?
Well, it's different. It varies so much because Canada is so big, US is so big. Although the market in Montreal for me is insane. It's just that we haven't found a way to really identify all those diamonds and make them come over. But overall, the countries are so huge that centralize guys to train regularly and getting away from the pay-to-play platform, mostly in the United States. I'm not sure about the Canadian one yet, but is a big one. In France, a lot of people just play soccer, and they play against soccer in the streets. Here in US, people have 2-3 sports that they play for a little bit of a season, and then they jump to something else, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I was considered somebody talented, but they had like 5 of me, like 2 with my age, 2 younger, and 2 older. So that would tell me how hard I had to try to make it happen. And it sometimes, again, I only been here a few months, but in United States, I feel that people not only they try different sports, but they also have the college who's going to lead them to a different pathway in their life with work and everything. So soccer doesn't seem like a priority. So the thing with I was able to observe here lately, whether it was a Galaxy and at the Crew, is this change of mentality that now the youngish wants to stay playing soccer, because everybody plays soccer, right? But they just deviate to different platform afterwards. But now they stick to it, and they want to make a career of it. In soccer, and now guess what? It comes in a timing where the federations are trying to coach the coach and the academies and create new platforms for the young guys to bridge that gap between youth level and the A team. So it's the perfect timing, and that's the reasons why I choose to come in North America to coach.
Yeah, to help develop that, I'm pretty sure. Now, you obviously, everybody knows already that you enjoyed a lot of success with Columbus Crew 2 team, and many of those players that you coached are now enjoying first team minutes with one of the best team in the leagues right now. With only 1 year under your belt here in Montreal and looking at the Montreal Academy, what distinguishes the two, the Columbus Academy and Montreal Academy, and what would you like to see from the Montreal Academy more?
The timing at the Crew at the time, it was really of course with the creation of the second team and the next Pro League, it was really to put all the processes and the resources to make the player pool in Ohio willing to come to the Crew and not just to go to college. It was the priority, and then bring a few rare talents a little bit from different areas also. So there's that. In Montreal, there's no next pro, but there's still a way for us to identify those players younger, to keep an eye on them, and to hopefully attract them to the academy. And I'm not a big believer of unified formation in every teams and and so not. But the other factor that we talked about, I should have mentioned earlier, is the capacity to train the basics of fundamentals of technical reps and intensity. So if you can find a way to not only identify but keep on track and have a program with clubs around the Montreal area that they're going to work a type of way that later on is going to benefit to the players, to the CF Montreal, or to the club where the talent's been discovered, it would be where we're gonna really get to a point where all the Mo Farsi or Bombito and etc. is gonna be nourishing the first team in Montreal, and that's gonna be a game changer.
Wow, you sold me on that. Hopefully it will happen here in Montreal.
We hope so. We try to position ourselves to get into this position for sure.
Now, Laurent, as a coach, you've been a coach for a few years now. When you're meeting a player for the first time, regardless of age, experience, or whatnot, what is the most important thing that you want to get out of that conversation on a human level and an athletic level? What is it that you want out of that conversation?
It doesn't always work, but I can tell you what I try to do is I try to get to know where he's coming from, the background, what drives him in life. And I'm curious about siblings. I'm curious about where his parents are from, etc. We all have little stories, and that dictates the way a little bit of the way we behave and we think. So I like to know that. Then I want to tell them what drives me and what I like. And first of all, we usually all a son or a father or a brother or else. So soccer is just a tool, doesn't define me. So based on that, you try to establish a contact. Yeah, that's what I try to do.
Awesome. And since the last international break, CF Montreal, your side, looks like a team that's been reborn. They're having fun. They're playing the best football they've played all season, and they're getting results. You've repeatedly said that you continue doing the same thing. Your approach hasn't changed. But what do you think was the ingredient that sparked all this, that made a difference?
Being consistent in my message, regardless of what people think, comment, whatever, judge. Just try to be consistent on the stuff that I believe can be one way.
How big of an effort was put in by the leaders to kind of get everybody back on the same page again? Because it feels like the group is also much tighter now than it was, when things were going poorly.
Well, things go better. Everybody feels that people are acting better, and when things go wrong, a lot of people think that everybody is acting bad. So it's not that that's true, that black and white. Even on the low moments, there were the majority of the group that was try to be consistent and keep working well. But every time you're not successful, or for other people not having the playing time you think you deserve, it's a challenge. And then as soon as it clicks and you win, everybody smiles and the same way. So it's just the nature of people, and you try to minimize the lows and the highs, and say that that's not going to define us. What we try to have, when we try to find a ways to be consistent of doing what we love, representing people that we love, and try to get the best for the club that gives us this opportunity, and just have fun. But it's easier said than done.
Switching back to the academy just for a little bit, what are the players in the academy now that you're really excited to have, come up and train with the first team and play for the first team, hopefully eventually, that you think that, all right, they're the next player that's going to sign the pro contract, they're the next player that's going to be, Mathieu Chouanière, Nathan Saliba, someone like that. And who should we as fans or journalists or anybody watching the club, who should we be looking out for from the academy?
Well, lately, we had an eye on them, even though with the youth team, but lately we were able to bring them over to have a closer look with them. Terrible with last names, so I'm going to go with the first names. Felix, Nael, Antoine, Owen, and of course Alex Gobuglu and Sergei that spent a few time with us in the preseason too. So there's a bunch of really interesting kids that we wish we were able to spend more time and dedication. And of course the Alessandro Biello that is only 18, but he's like a man now. His growth over the years has been incredible. So yeah, and let's not forget that there's a lot of our players that are still 21, 22, and there's just so much to learn.
You mentioned at the beginning of this interview that you got to see some family what do they think of Montreal? What do they think of the city? And are they also CF Montreal fans, or are they sticking with the clubs that they support if they do?
Who's that? Sorry?
Your family.
My family. Oh, they're Montreal to death now. Because my son came in
Do
February.
they have a choice or no choice?
No, because I give up like younger. I really forced them. Didn't work. And now,
Pretty funny.
they're 19 and 16. So they're really curious now. And what they be able to observe, especially my older one that was with the club on an internship. No, they're a big fan now, and it's pretty cool. And they're suffering too.
Wait, so if I understood correctly, you said one of your sons did an internship with a club at CF
Yeah.
Montreal?
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Okay. So
This-
first time working with that, or was this
Sales. He was trying to sell tickets, but a couple of partisans were not happy about a few results, and they let go. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, one of the things
Tough job.
But my dad works here.
So my son would come back after work, and he would go, "Dad, I didn't know that part of the job. Wow!" And that was a little bit of eye opening for him, and yeah.
Nice.
Now, one of the things, as someone who also has tattoos, I noticed about your look is you have a lot of tattoos and a lot of really interesting tattoos. I was wondering if you could maybe give us a little bit of a tattoo tour and explain some of your favorite tattoos and maybe give us the meaning behind them.
I started my first tattoo when I left France because I had joint custody with my two sons, and I left France to take that coaching pathway, and it was really hard for me. So the first tattoo I got was my son's name, and one of them is a little brat. So this is the tone part, and the other one is a dreamer, and he always has his head in the cloud, and so I have a side which is a little bit of a porn side, and the other side is a little bit of a dreamer. So yeah,
That's really sweet.
Nice. Love it. Laurent, before we let you go, we have to ask you a few rapid fire questions.
Quick.
A bit like, I'm pretty sure you're familiar in French. We do tu préfères. So I'll give you two answers. You're going to have to choose one of the two. No need for explanations. Just
All
a
right.
quick answer, okay?
Let's go.
First of all, player or coach?
Player.
Okay. Do you like delivery or cooking?
Delivery.
Okay. Poutine guy or blue cheese nachos?
Poutine.
Okay, good.
You just won half of Quebec, by the way, by saying that.
Hey, just easy choice.
Beach guy or you prefer Netflix?
Snow, but beach guy.
That wasn't even one of the choices.
Yeah,
But it's the right answer.
I like
It's the right
I like go skiing with the kids. Yeah,
Nice. Okay, scoring a goal or assisting a goal?
assist.
Okay. Now, this is a very tough one. Dennis Bergkamp or George Weah?
Oh,
I told you it's a tough one.
I would go with George Weah.
Okay. Interesting. And then last but not least, because like you have to choose, you have no choice, Saint-Etienne or Marseille?
None of them.
You have to choose. You accepted the challenge.
No, I can't.
Or CF Montreal.
Okay, we'll give you that joker.
All right, thank you.
Laurent, thank you very, very
So
much
much.
for your time. It was really, really amazing to get to know you. Of course, we'll see you in the next few days. Good luck for the last game of the season on Saturday. I don't think you need luck, so just have fun. I think that's the kind of answer that you would like from us, and the kind of wish that you would like from us. So have fun, and we'll see you right after the game as usual.
I appreciate that fun and discipline. It was really fun to be with you guys, and see you soon.
See you soon. Thanks a lot, Laurent. Thank you. Yeah, so that was the interview with Laurent Courtois. I think we had a lot of fun with him. I hope you guys really liked what you saw from Laurent Courtois and our questions and the interview. Of course, we weren't going to ask him a lot about the decision day because, it was like 2 days before. So we didn't want to go also with the end of season stuff because, of course, we don't know when the season's going to end. but we wanted to have an interview that's going to be timeless. So hopefully you guys liked it. We did a lot. I think we've been talking about this for the last 2 days. We really enjoyed the interview ourselves. So,
I mean, what a fun guy. What a fun
he is
person to just talk to. And I actually saw him at the stadium yesterday after the game. And I saw him after the stadium, and I said, and he was coming out of the tunnel after the game when everybody was leaving. And I told him, and I was like, "Hey, I'm Andy," and he's like, "Yeah, you're from the podcast." So he did remember the interview, just very human, very approachable, very nice, and it was just a fun interview to me.
Yeah, I mean that's the point of these, right? It's to we talk about soccer, but we talk about life too a little bit, right? These are humans after all, and they have their stories, and he's got plenty, as you can tell, and probably only scratched the surface. You could do a whole show just on his experiences.
Yeah, and Patrick being very optimistic. Hopefully, we'll be talking about 2 wins next week. Let's start with 1, and then we'll see for the second. Baby steps.
With this club, we take it day by day. Yes.
Guys, for all that are listening, of course, it's our 200th episode. We had an interview with Laurent Courtois. We're gonna go over the 2 hours mark, so sorry about that. We don't usually do that, but you'll have to give us a break today for our 200th episode. Just once, exactly. So moving on, let's talk about the playoff pictures, because we are qualified for the play-in. And by the way, before we start and we look at the brackets and everything, I want to ask you a question. It's a rapid fire for both of you guys. Is it play-in playoffs? Elias?
Yes.
And
it's postseason, so yeah.
Yeah. Not everybody gets it.
Good.
Right?
Okay, so we all agree on here. A lot of people are saying, play-in is not playoffs. Yes, it is playoffs. The regular season is 34 games. Anything extra.
Tell me names, Hadi. I'm going to start writing to them right away.
Addresses.
So yeah, okay, perfect. So let's look at the playoff bracket, because it's going to be very, very interesting. So Montreal playing at home on Tuesday, 7:30, guys. This Tuesday. Tickets are on sale, guys, if you want to go and buy some. Tuesday against Atlanta at home. That's going to be tough game at home. The winner plays Miami. Do not forget, round 1 is 2 out of 3. So that means if we win that game against Atlanta at home, we'll be able to play at least one other game at home against Miami, which is unbelievable. At the same time, let's look at the West, because we don't really talk a lot about the West here in Montreal. So let's take a look at them. Vancouver hosting Portland, but not really, because Vancouver cannot host because they don't have a stadium right now. So they're going to have to play their play-in in Portland, which is very unfair for all the players and all the staff.
Can you just say that one more time for me, Hadi? They don't have a stadium. What in the world is happening?
No, their stadium is being used for the World Lacrosse Tournament or whatever it is. So that's why. The winner plays LAFC, 2 out of 3, of course. Seattle playing Houston. Very good job from Ben Olsen with Houston. In my head, Ben Olsen has been coach, but you know what? He did very well with Houston. RSL playing Minnesota. FYI, Minnesota, that gave us for $50,000 Caden Clark. And LA Galaxy playing the Rapids. Rapids, I hope I didn't check the news, but I hope Georgi Mihailovic is back on track. I know he got injured in the last game of the season and went off about the 29th minute or 30th minute. So I don't know if it was a big injury, but hopefully not for the Rapids. Yeah, exactly. On the West, we have, of course, we did talk about Miami playing against the winner of Montreal Atlanta. Orlando playing against Charlotte. Charlotte, do not forget, won 3-0 at DC. Very, very interesting team. Very collective effort. Very interesting. Orlando has been so-so this year. Cincinnati playing against New York City FC. And Columbus against the Red Bulls. Guys, before we talk about Montreal, can you give me your hot takes on this playoff bracket? So I'll start with you, Andy. But let's keep the picture the picture there just so we can take a look at that. If you see a team that's seeded, who do you think will be able to beat a better team in those brackets, Andy?
So each side, Hari?
Yeah.
So look, Orlando and Charlotte are very hard for me to predict. I would say Orlando, probably, just because they've been more consistent. Cincinnati, NYC, after seeing NYC play yesterday, I don't know. I'd say probably Cincinnati because they've got Lucho Acosta and Columbus. Well, Columbus is just they're Columbus. Nobody's going to beat them. And Vancouver, Portland. Do I have that one? I would say probably. I would say Portland, just because they have more
Portland.
How convinced I'm of my choice, and then they're obviously going to lose to LAFC, and then Seattle, Houston. I would say Seattle. I think they have a lot more talent. Houston though has been really on fire this season, but Seattle is just needs to get it together, in my opinion. RSL, Minnesota. I think RSL has an interesting roster as well, so I think they would have a better chance. And LA and Colorado, without if they don't have Mihailovic, I find it very hard for them to progress. I would say LA. That's my opinion.
So no upsets at all.
Upsets, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
No upsets. Elias, any upsets?
I think Cincinnati. I don't know.
You think in your CDFC will be able to beat Cincinnati?
I think especially in a format like this, where it's so weird. I think Cincinnati. I don't know. They were in contention for Supporter Shield and top of the East, and they kind of had a weird end of the season.
I'm not convinced.
No, I'm not convinced in NYCFC, but I'm not convinced in Cincinnati either.
Exactly.
So I think it'll be a very interesting series. But I think New York's going to get the most. What about you?
Honestly, that was the matchup that I wasn't really sure of. Cincinnati, New York City FC, and Orlando, Charlotte. I'm not really sure who to choose between the two. So that's the two sides where I'm not really sure. On the west side, honestly, for me, no, I don't think we'll see an upset at all. So we'll see. So maybe Charlotte beating Orlando. That's the other upset that I would see. But that's it. We'll see. Matthew asking if this is the MLS bracket challenge. No, it's not. It's just that we're looking at this and we're just having fun. But we can play the MLS bracket challenge. And we have Robbie saying LAFC, Seattle, RSL, and Colorado beating the Galaxy. Oh, wow. That's a hot take. On the other side, Miami, Charlotte, Cincinnati, and Columbus. So Charlotte beating Orlando. So two upsets for Robbie. Feel free, guys, everybody that's listening to give us your take on the MLS brackets. But let's talk about CF Montreal, guys. How much of we can give a percentage of chances that CF Montreal will beat Atlanta, how much would you give? Andy, are you confident or you're not really?
Yes, because I've always said it, even because my first podcast with you guys, the first one I did was the defeat of Toronto 1-0 at home. That I was like, I told you guys in that podcast, or I think maybe a few after, I told you, the only thing that this team needs to do, they don't need to worry about who's in front of them. They need to worry about themselves. And that's just where I think they're at now, where they figured themselves out. So Atlanta, I don't think is very much a team that has much of an identity, since they've lost a lot of players. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if it was this year that they fired their coach at the beginning of the season, right? They're in an interim coach, or am I wrong?
Yeah.
Was it
Atlanta? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a team that's kind of going through similar struggles that CF Montreal went through. So if you ask me for a percentage, I'd want to say I'm confident 80%.
80%.
Being
Robbie
very
is
positive. I'm being very positive here.
the pessimistic Robbie is at 60%. Elias.
Split down the middle. I'm gonna go 70%. I think
That was my choice. That was my
well,
choice.
Hadi,
70%.
great
come
minds think
on.
alike, you know.
Seriously.
Stop stealing my stuff.
You're the bad guy.
Give
But
me
honestly-
40%, Hadi. I want to see you say 40%.
Honestly, I
Say
don't see
30.
how Atlanta can win against Montreal.
Not
I
a
just don't
chance.
see it. I'm not saying
No.
not a chance. Anything can happen, but it's very tough unless CF Montreal is playing a bad game. Penalty, red card. Things that can happen.
Yeah.
But I don't see it because yes, they do have Moranchuk. That's a very good player, but he hasn't yet. He established himself as a very, very good player yet. And the rest, I don't know. I don't see
But
them.
you know what? Why, Hattie? Why,
Yeah,
like, I'm being so optimistic about this is because we beat Atlanta at home, and it wasn't because Atlanta was terrible. It's because Montreal played really well too during that game. So if we continue in that stride, and I think that game really set us off too. It set us off. So yeah, I think we have a very, very good chance of doing that.
And playing at home, it's very hard to beat us at home, right? Yes, New England did it with fashion, but that's very, very hard, right? Jules saying 65%. So very positive comments regarding the MLS bracket. Okay, the MLS play-in. Okay, let's move on to the tough stuff. The percentage of us beating Miami if we go through. I'll start with you, Elias. Like when I say beating Miami, it's not only home, like just going through, like winning,
beating
Miami
twice. Beating Miami twice.
Pessimistic Robbie says 0.000000001%.
You know that scene in Avengers where it's like I calculated 3 million scenarios, and we die in all of them except one or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I guess no. I'll give it 10%. Based purely on the form and the fact that I think they're good for a win at home, which is more likely now than it was when they actually when Miami actually came to town. I'll give them 10%.
Yeah.
Based on how they play Atlanta, that might change, but
just to be different, I'm gonna say 11%. But it's just if
you always have to one up me. This is.
Don't take it personal, bro. But no, it's just again, it depends on how Montreal plays. That's all it depends on. Doesn't depend on how good Miami is.
Because it's going to be a much more tired Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Patrick says 30%. Honestly, I would say 40%, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, CF Montreal, 40%.
You are.
CF Montreal.
What is happening right now?
Played 2 games against Miami, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first game they played, yes, of course, without the top brass, they won in Miami 2-1. Even without Messi, even without Luis Suarez, even without everybody that were injured, they were. Yeah, Robbie. I said 40%. I didn't say they're going to win. 40%. That means that you're still losing, right? Okay. So
you're doing this all by yourself, honey.
I'm going to explain my thought. Okay. So even without, all the teams weren't able to compete with Miami, but Montreal was able to. When Messi was injured, Montreal was able to win in Miami, which a lot of other teams weren't able to do. That's the first thing. Second thing, when we played at home against Miami, we were winning 2-0. We lost 3-2. Completely agree with that. But even when we lost 3-2, we had a couple of chances to draw the game. When you look at the game against New England, they were winning 2-0. They lost 6-2. They didn't have any other chances afterwards. I feel that CF Montreal, the way that CF Montreal plays, is hard for a team like Inter Miami. Now, of course, you need to make sure that you have all the ingredients in place, all all the luck possible in order to do that on a couple of games. But I'm not saying it's impossible. I wouldn't go to 10%. I would go to about 40%. Again, I'm not being optimistic. I'm just looking at facts. The 2 games played against Miami were much more closer than any other team in MLS.
And to add
Any
on to
other
that,
team.
to add on to that, Hattie, that game that you mentioned that we lost 3-2 at home with Lionel Messi. Do you know who we had? I wish you could pull it up. Do you know who we had as a lineup? CF Montreal had as a lineup that day. We had a
Didn't have
striker.
anybody.
We had Mason Toy. We had Joel Anthony Villasane starting. We had Ariel Lassiter run on the right. We had Mathieu Chouanière in mid, which they did a fantastic job, by the way, the mid. But, I mean, compared to what we're seeing today, it's a different team that lost 3-2 against Miami. So I completely agree with you. There is a chance. There's a very tiny percentage, but there's a chance.
Yeah, there's
And
always a chance. Or else just not play the game. Just
And I'll
give up
even say
already,
this.
right?
I'll go as far as to say if by miracle we beat Miami twice or whatever, even 3 times if we had to go. No, just twice.
No. A draw and a win. As simple as that.
If we do it, I'm ready to say that we're going to the final. I am ready to say it.
No. I
am.
No. For me, there's 1% chance for us to go to the final. 1%. Impossible.
Maybe I'm too positive. Okay.
Impossible.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there's a possibility against Miami.
I apologize.
But no, I don't agree with you, Andy. Sorry. Impossible for us to go to the final. There's no freaking way. 1%. But you know what? You're allowed. You're allowed to your opinion, my friend. You're allowed to your opinion. So great. We saw a lot of answers. So Jules saying 10% against Miami, 30% for Patrick White. As we said, Roberto doesn't think we have one slight chance. Robbie saying, look, telling me Hattie just because I said 40%. But guys, 40% is still a loss, right? So we'll see. I think that 40% means that we're not going to go down easily. I don't think we're going to be beaten 10-1. So hopefully this is that. So we'll see. Let's see. Let's wait and see. As I usually say, let's wait and see, my friends. Yeah. Moving on, guys. I think that's good for the playoff picture. I think Elias prepared something for us.
I may have. Maybe.
But first, we do have a giveaway. And Elias,
we do.
You're the king of the giveaway. So go ahead.
By king, you mean the only one that knows how to use the website.
So we do have a giveaway. We want to thank Tacklers FC.
Kid.
We want to thank Tacklers FC to have collaborated with us, and that's giving a T-shirt to the winner. We had a few people participating. A very nice T-shirt. I love the branding of Tacklers FC, by the way, guys. A goat really tackling. I really love the branding. I love the shirt. It's just, for fun. Sometimes it's fun to wear soccer T-shirts. So let's see who's gonna win. So whenever you're ready, Elias, you can show you can share your screen, show the draw, and everything.
You guys can you guys see this?
Yes, we can.
All right. So let's see who the winner is. It's very fast. Oh, well, that's not fair. All right, let's try that again. It's entirely at random, guys, I promise.
No, not again. This is such a failure.
All right, one more time.
If it's me.
Okay, it's Simo. Congratulations. Simo. Jesus Christ. Simo, if you're watching or maybe listening later, congratulations. You win.
We won, guys.
We're the winner of the raffle. We will be in touch with you over Twitter, and we'll be in touch to coordinate that. Congratulations again. Thank you to everyone who participated.
Yes.
That's so annoying. The funniest part is I tested it earlier to see if it worked, and it picked Hattie twice. So I think maybe it just
Hattie wins.
maybe it has a propensity to just annoy me. Anyway,
Congrats,
congratulations,
Simon.
Simon. Yes, and I have prepared something else for you guys. I have prepared a special 200th episode edition of the TBIR quiz.
Oh wow! Oh wow! One sec,
fail.
one sec. Do we have? Oh, we have this.
What is this?
It's the quiz. It's the
This
quiz.
looks like a thing of a presentation at work.
Yeah.
It's just a little introduction to the segment.
All right,
That's
we
it.
have
Doesn't matter.
I have 5 questions for you based on
Yeah.
different CF Montreal guests
I'm gonna fail.
and a bonus question for bonus points. And that one
Okay.
is a bit of a deep cut. The first one, the show's very first ever guest was defender and former captain Jukka Raitala following his trade to Minnesota. Can you name one of the 2 other players involved in the trade that brought him to Montreal?
Oh shit!
Nope.
All right, Tyler. That brought him to Montreal.
Mhm.
I think he was in
I'll
Columbus
give you guys
before,
I'll give you
right?
guys a hint. I'll give you guys
He
a
was in
hint.
Columbus before, right?
He
Am
was
I
from
crazy?
Columbus, yes.
Yeah, good.
I'll give you guys one hint. Both players are with the club right now.
Huh?
Yep.
Both players are with the club.
If you guys want to answer in the chat, you guys are more than welcome to. If I see anybody peeking at the chat, you're disqualified. But
What? Both players are
so
in the
name
club right
just
now.
one. Name just one, and it's a point.
Joseph Martinez. No, I'm just,
Raitala for Martinez. But
That's a
Martinez should have
prime
been
Joseph
with the
Martinez,
club.
by the way. That's a prime Joseph.
One second. So you're saying we got Raitala for 2 players?
No, it's Raitala and someone else for
Came here.
somebody from Montreal.
Ah, okay. For somebody from Montreal. Raitala. Was it Evan Bush that was traded to Columbus?
That's your answer?
but no, he went to
I don't
Vancouver.
I'm not
no?
telling you because I don't want to influence Andy's answers.
He
Is
went
that
to
your answer?
Vancouver.
Yeah, you're right.
Why are you helping him?
He's helping me. Thank you, Andy.
Because I know I failed. I don't know the answer to this.
I gave you a massive hint.
Raitala.
Both players are still with the club right now.
Jeez,
I still like the one in Columbus is still in
No,
Columbus.
both
and the
players
one-
are with Montreal right now.
I
You
have
get so
no freaking idea. I thought. One sec. So with the club right now, can I look at the players? I'm gonna look at the players.
No, that's cheating.
Not want to look at the
Hands
players
up, Hattie.
that are with the club right now.
Hands up.
Okay.
No, hands up.
Okay.
Step away from your monitor.
Okay. So defenders. No, they're not. No, so it's not.
Laurent Simon.
Because
he went to
Ryan
Toronto,
Madrid
I know.
didn't go. No, Ryan Madrid didn't go to Columbus. Then the center backs. No, Simon didn't go to Columbus. The center backs that we have, so not Waterman, not Corbo, not Campbell, not Alvarez.
Sabrango. I don't know if that by the
no,
club, like they're still the club. They could be
Sabrango-
staff. They could be.
Yeah, but Sabrango
Alright, I'm
retired in
admitting a time limit
2011. No,
All right,
no,
time
no,
limit,
no,
time
no.
limit, time
No,
limit.
no, one sec.
Okay,
Sabrango
don't
retired
mad,
in 2011. He retired in 2011, so it's not Sabrango. If we look at the midfielders, so no, so it's not the midfielders. If we look at the top players, so it's
Logan
not
Ketter?
Susi.
No, he's been with the club.
No,
right
he
now.
wasn't. He wasn't in Columbus.
One club.
He
man.
was in New England before.
Oh, guys, I'm just throwing names
I
out there.
think, yeah.
Patrice Bernier.
I'm so happy with this question. Oh my god,
Man, okay, I'm
so
not
proud
good.
of
I'm
this.
not good with these. Oh man,
I'm getting mad because now I just want to know.
I thought. One sec. One
Hattie's
more.
committed now. Hattie's
How
committed.
do you look at the chat? How do you look at the chat, man?
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
but
The chat hasn't said anything.
Nobody said anything.
How is cheating, man? How is cheating?
Okay. getting a bit too excited.
I think I am, yeah.
Andy loves quiz, man. What can I say?
I'm failing miserably at it.
Honestly, who like
You got it, yeah. I was
not
watching them when he was there.
Sunusi, not Kokaro, not Jules Anthony Vilsan, not all those players who weren't in MLS before. Breza wasn't in MLS before. Sirois is a product of the academy. Piet wasn't there. Okay, so it's surely with the staff. No other choice. If you look at the staff, who's in the staff right now? So you have David Sauvry, no. Laurent Courtois, no. Who else? Laurent Schlicht, of course not. He didn't play professionally. Who else? No. Okay, you know what? I don't know.
No. Back in, what year was it? 2017, the Montreal Impact acquired Yuka Raitala and Canadian midfielder Raheem Edwards.
What? He was in Columbus? I didn't know he was in Columbus.
The rights to Raheem Edwards. That's how he got to Montreal. In exchange for, you had it, Laurent Simon.
No way!
He did play in Columbus for a bit before going to Toronto.
What? I said it!
No,
but it was an affirmative.
Yeah.
But it was an affirmative.
You didn't say it.
I just threw it out there.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Sorry, my memory is not that good. Good. Great question, by the way.
I feel aggravated by this quiz.
Next.
Another guest who, in all likelihood, is on his way out at the end of the season is Victor Wanyama, a club legend, more known for passing than scoring. In fact, his goal in the Canadian Championship was his first in 2 years. Against who was the last one?
Forge.
No, who was the last one before this?
Oh my God!
I think it was that goal in the.
It was a header,
like, from outside the area.
No, it was still with Montreal. Hadi.
Still with Montreal. Okay.
Yes. I said 2 years.
I don't know, man.
I think I'm gonna throw a random because I did see a highlight recently where he did. Was it against the New England Revolution?
That's your answer?
I think so.
Okay. Hadi, what's your answer?
I'm not good at that. I would say Toronto. Just for the
Eric agrees with you. Unfortunately, you're both wrong. It was against Columbus. So,
again, Columbus. What's wrong with you, man?
It's a red herring because you guys would think surely it's not Columbus again. Yes, it is. It is
Can't be twice the same answer.
Expect the unexpected.
Right. My default is Columbus if I ever have anything else.
The next question is about Greg Sutton, another Canadian football legend who has marked the history of the club with a remarkable.
That was a guest on our show. That did amazing guy, amazing play by an analyst on Apple TV right now.
Yep.
By the way, whenever you listen,
he has a whopping 40 shutouts in 64 appearances
Jeez.
for Montreal. Incredible record. Obviously, he's on the Wall of Fame. Much deserved. How many saves does he have for Montreal, though?
Oh, man.
Closest answer.
How many games did he play?
Wait, at least give me the digits. Is it 3, 2, 1? How many digits is it?
It's 2. Starts with 2.
So you said 64 games?
64 games. Closest answer gets the point. So someone's getting a point here.
I'm saying 94.
I said it starts with 2, Hadi.
Oh, I thought 2 digits.
Oh, no.
I asked how many digits.
Oh, you said
how many digits?
Now you got me messed up. Now you got me messed up, bro.
It's triple digits. It's triple digits. And yeah, I gave it away. It starts with 2.
It's okay. So I would say 216.
660 or 16?
16.
Okay.
I would say 272.
Hadi was 5 off. He's made 221 saves according to Football Reference in his 64 appearances. Again, great record with the club and shout out.
A great goalkeeper,
Mm.
by the way, and I still don't understand why he wasn't called up more often with the national team. I will never understand that. So
Much more deserved. Well, I mean, he is also a Canada legend for helping them in the
yeah,
Gold Cup.
yeah, but he only played like 8 or 9 games with Canada or something like that. Like not a
Yeah.
lot of games with Canada. I think the goalkeeper at that time, if I'm not mistaken, was Pat Onstad. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure, but another legend. But I'll check to be sure because I'm not sure about what I'm saying. So okay, moving on.
All right, the next one is about Kamal Miller, our very own Kamal Miller, who was a guest on the
Yeah.
show, and who is, of course, affectionately referred to, well, by Montreal fans as a Camaldinho with his propensity to get forward and have some nice drills. But the marker for that 2022 season was, in fact, passing forward, with 4 Montreal players with the most progressive passes. Kamal was first. Who was second in the most progressive passes in 2022 under Wilfried Nancy?
Is it only defenders or
Well, I mean, it
midfielders?
just so happens to be defenders because that's who was doing it, but it's everybody in the club.
So our choices are all the club, but they are defenders. I'm confused now.
It's anyone that was on that team.
Okay.
I would say just for the fun of it, Joel Waterman.
Me too. I go for that answer, Joel
You're
Waterman.
both going. You've both got a point. It was Joel Waterman.
Yeah. Very
All right. Our last question is about Mason Toy, another wonderful striker and another wonderful guest that we've had on this show, who has a knack for scoring in bunches. We love the Mason Toy brace, but he has just 1 assist for CF Montréal in his entire career here. Who was the beneficiary of that assist?
Romel Kyoto.
Oh my God, I had the same answer, Hadi. Just to be
I mean,
different,
it's a safe bet, you know.
Just to be different, I'm gonna say. Just to be different, I'm gonna say Joaquin Torres. But I had the
Good
same
shout.
one. I had the Romel Kyoto. But go ahead.
But it was in fact Romel Kyoto. You should have trusted that, Andy.
But I mean, I already stole a point, so.
All right, that's the 5. Hadi is the winner. Hadi is, of course, invincible in this because nobody could beat Hadi because his brain is enormous when it comes to this stuff. But do you guys want to hear the bonus question?
Yeah, of course.
All right, the bonus question is the first episode of The Ball is Round after 41 episodes of Soccer with Paul and Hadi was titled New Pod Old Struggles. What was the reason for said struggles?
It was a Nashville game of Thierry Henry. And yeah, because I had to hear that.
He listened to the
I listened.
I made this quiz before I saw Andy's montage, okay? So, you know what?
Give me the point! Give me the point!
I get a point too.
Dude, you should have seen Eliza's face. He was like,
How did he cheat that quickly? What the hell? How did he look that up? No, yeah, he's right. It is a 1-0 loss to Nashville. And
yeah, they were talking about Manciel. They were talking about
wow. Yeah.
And Maxi Urruti got a mention on the episode. I was like, we're there. That's where we're at.
Old stuff. So just to let you know, guys, yes, I looked it up, and yes, it was Pat Onstad that was the Canada Soccer main goalkeeper ahead of Greg Sutton. And I want to say thank you to Elias for that quiz because it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, man. I love finding obscure stats that'll ruin your guys' day. It's so much fun.
I cannot sleep tonight.
No, I don't mind. So guys, I think that's gonna wrap up our episode. Oh, you know what? No, we have social media, and we said we're gonna go longer. So let's do social media.
Why not go way longer?
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead.
All right,
let's
Andy.
put the
social media time.
Go ahead,
You
Andy.
muted me, but I was saying I'm starving. All right. So the first tweet, millions of people
tuned in to watch the Canada men's national team at Copa America this summer on TSN. Since then, Jesse March has been disappointed with the viewing figures of friendlies shown on One Soccer. He says, quote, "We know that on TV, we need to find ways to get more eyeballs." What does this mean to you guys? Why is this so important to Jesse March, the head coach of the Canada men's national team in this day and age? Go ahead, Elias.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, the national team is, especially with the World Cup in those last 2 years, is as hot as they've ever been, right? It's as popular as they've ever been, and you don't want to let that hype burn out, right? Because at the end of the day, there's years between international competitions, and you can't wait for the Gold Cup to roll around for you to get viewership again. So I understand, right? There's whatever the game, whatever the circumstances, if the national team is playing, you want as many eyes on it as possible. One Soccer, granted, is a nice format for Canadian soccer, but the viewership isn't there. And when you're trying to grow the game, you want as many eyeballs on it as possible. So, you know, we talked about this at length when they were talking about maybe not showing the CPL this year and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, it's not the best situation right now. And again, as many eyes on it as possible is the most important thing about growing the game. So,
Hadi, in your opinion, how is that important for the growth of Canada soccer around the world to get that viewership, to have as many eyes as possible in each, even the Canadian friendly games?
Of course, it's very important. You need visibility. You need viewership. You need to have as many as possible people watching the games or having access to the game. And unfortunately, you know, not unfortunately, but you know, if we look at facts right now in Canada, it's not the same thing as in the US. In the US, most of the people are now on streaming services. It's not the case in Canada. A lot of people are still on cable right now, and you know what? That's okay too, right? So if you want to have more viewership, you have to be on cable nowadays. There's no other way around it, and I feel that this is the main thing right now. Like, what's really nice is that we know that, you know, One Soccer deal is coming to an end at the end of the season. So we know that One Soccer is not going to exist afterwards. So there's an opportunity here for Canada Soccer to sell those rights to a TV station. Now, who's going to be the station that's going to be able to buy those rights at the right amount too, right? Because, you know, CSB sold the rights for 10 million for 10 years, along with, of course, the CanPL and everything. But right now, they're worth so much more. And at that point, we need someone to come and bid the right amount for Canada Soccer. So hopefully we'll see a bit of a war of bids between all the networks. And that's going to be beneficial for the national team, for Canada Soccer, and of course for the growth of the game. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it's completely normal to get more eyes on those on this national team, because let's not forget, guys, we have a golden generation right now, or the best generation that we've ever had. Yes, we've had some good generations in the past. I'm not spitting on those. So many great players with Atiba Hutchinson, with Patrice Bernier, with Alex Bunbury, and so on and so on. Guzman, the two brothers, the Guzman. Like, there's been, even if one of them didn't play for Canada, the other one did. Dwayne De Rosario. There's so many good players, but it's the first time that we have a complete team where we have multiple very good players playing with each other, and they're still super young. They're super young. And guys, you watch that game against Panama. That game against Panama, against one of the very good teams in CONCACAF. Don't forget that Panama did very well also in Copa America. They won that game. Did you see that second goal from Jonathan David? This is a generational player in Jonathan David.
Can't wait to see him at Barcelona.
Winning. Let's see if it happens. Winning the ball in the midfield, giving the through ball to Liam Miller, and then making that run in the penalty area to get that goal, and to really gives a small touch in order to redirect the ball inside in the back of the net. So That's something that's not very easy to do, and only top players are able to do that. So we have that now in Canada. We have these kinds of players. We have a Steven Eustáquio. We have an Alfonso Davies. We have a Jonathan David. A lot of people are spitting on Kyle Larin, but you know what? Kyle Larin is still scoring goals. Yeah, maybe scoring goals against CONCACAF teams, but he's scoring goals. He scored another one this past Tuesday. So you know what? Let's put as many as possible, some eyeballs on that team, because we need that for sure, 100%.
Yeah, and I go the same as you guys. How do you said it best? I mean, we're living in a golden generation here in Canada, and I think beyond us Canadians as fans of the Canadian national team, there are also fans of say the European teams, right? Like Bayern Munich or like Real Madrid, wherever these Canadians are playing, especially like Olympique Marseille. When it's the international break, a lot of these players, a lot of these fans.
An amazing club, Olympique de Marseille. You have to always say an amazing club.
An amazing club for some people, but it's.
We won 5-0 today.
Should we talk about that, Harry?
We won 6-1, so beat that.
Let's go.
So
5-0
anyway,
better than 6-1, but whatever. Of course, you have a clean sheet.
What? Why? I see like a vein starting to build in Hadi every time we start. But anyway, so all I'm saying is that these European fans want to see the players play for their national team, for the national team that they represent, like we want to see for any of our countries or whatever. So exposure is important because they want to see how these players perform in the national stage. So especially when talent is starting to boom, I think it's very, very important that the head coach makes that message clear to everybody, to the fan. Hey guys, we're on the same page as you. We get it. We want the same goal. So yeah, 100%. It's a very, very loud message by Justin March.
Yeah. We have a question from Jules asking, what about Tajan Buchanan? He's not being called up anymore, but because he's not playing much with the Inter Milan, he was injured, so he's back in training. He's going to get some minutes at one point, and yes, he's going to be called up again. First of all, he needs to play, to have some play, to get back from injury, and of course, get some playing time. But he's coming back for sure. He's very talented too.
All right, on to the next tweet.
Yes, sir. So this one was interesting. I'm so bored of Messi League soccer. MLS only cares about him since he arrived. They haven't used this opportunity to attract better players like they said they would. They just used it to make cash, leaving the real MLS fans just constantly pissed off and disenfranchised. When I see this, guys, I want to know, what do you think that, we were talking about the Messi effect when he first joined the league, when he first came to the MLS, and how it was going to be a fantastic opportunity for the MLS to grow, to become, take that next step as a league. Do you guys think that Messi being here already his second season, I believe, right? His second season in MLS, do you think it's had the impact that the MLS was looking for? Do you think?
Oh yeah, 100%.
In attracting players and in attracting
but just look at Miami. He was able to attract Suarez, he was able to get back Jordi Alba, and he was able to attract Sergio Busquets. That's one thing. At the same time, you have Olivier Giroud that joined the club. You have Hugo Lloris that joined the LAFC. You have now they're talking a lot about Griezmann joining the team again, joining the league.
Yeah,
again.
But Harry, do you think that these players? You don't think that these players would join regardless if Messi was here or not?
Nah, I don't think so.
It's LA.
Yeah, but even if those players, Marco Reus joined the club, the LA Galaxy, by the way, we always forget about him, but he's an amazing player.
He is.
Those players maybe would have joined the club, but you know what? Maybe not too. I think Messi's helping the league grow. We just heard today by Gianni Infantino that Inter Miami is going to
host, which is the next tweet. It's another tweet, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
But we're going, and it shows that Messi is growing that league and is helping the league grow, and that's, for me, it's 100% true. Now, do I like it? Not really, personally, because I feel that our local talent is so much better than what people portray.
Mhm.
But you know what? If we need to have some eyes on the league, that's the way to do it. Why not?
And in a league that the MLS is known for its parity, right, from the top to bottom, like there's a big separation in wealth. Elias, what do you think that maybe people pictured the Messi arrival as it maybe reducing that parity, maybe making it like okay, Ruiz all of a sudden wants to play for the San Jose Earthquakes, or Montreal all of a sudden gets Antoine Griezmann for sure because Messi is here. It's the Messi effect. What do you think that that's what people pictured and maybe they're not getting it from the other clubs that are not having success right now?
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, if they did again, they did it within the confines of the financial structure of the league, allegedly. I know a bunch of people are complaining that there's no way this is legal.
It'll
Well,
come out
hey,
in the documentary later on in a few
you
years.
know, so far, of course, they haven't really been slapped with any sanctions or anything like that. So I can't really, not gonna, go. This
I
is a
like
giant
what Jules is
conspiracy.
saying. I like what Jules is saying, Elias. Saying
Yeah, I
big
mean, big
impact,
bank
of course.
men, Messi is like big image and bonus. Not everybody around the world is watching MLS games. And yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I don't know about MLS games specifically as Inter Miami games, which is I think is a bit more
Yeah, but like
more
you're
of an
playing, but you're playing. They're watching Messi, and then there's another team in front of him, and when the other team makes it difficult, when you saw, I'm pretty sure you watched the game of Miami against Columbus.
yeah.
Columbus was really nice to watch too.
Yeah, but not every team is Columbus, right?
Yeah.
I know, but still, if they're watching Messi, they're watching, let's say, 30 games or 15 games. There's 15 teams that they're playing that they're watching too. Out of these 15 teams, is if 3 or 4 or 5 teams are good, that's already a win for the MLS.
I don't know. To me, it's a lot of some fans might be a little bit bitter, like we were when Insigne and Bernadette went to Toronto, because it's like the rich are getting richer and the poor stay behind, and a lot of people thought that the Messi would be the solution to that parity and just the bottom feeders are just saying, you know what, like it didn't bring fruition. Yes, Miami got all these stars, like you mentioned, Hattie, Luis Suarez, and all that, which they are absolute stars. They're very lucky to have them, but at the end of the day, Montreal didn't get that. Now, again, we can get very deep into that subject as to what Montreal's vision is and all that, but I think that tweet comes from kind of that angry place of why didn't we get part of the pie? Why didn't we get that what we were supposed to get? Anyways, we'll move on to the next tweet.
Yep. Like you said, right? This is from
Yeah.
Fabrizio Romano. Go ahead.
Yeah, so FIFA President Gianni Infantino has announced that Inter Miami are qualified for two clubs World Cup 2025. Leo Messi and his team will be there. So this has caused a lot of controversy.
Of course,
Okay.
because you know what, it is not right.
Mhm.
Like they didn't get the call up. They didn't get the host of the first game because they're good. They got it because they have Messi.
Yep.
And you know what? That's unfair for all of the teams across the world. But at the same time, it comes back to what we were saying before. We got some great visibility now just because Messi's here. That's an MLS team getting that tournament, getting that first game of the tournament.
Yep. I'm a 100% agree with you, Harry. Elias, did you have another take on that?
No, I mean, not really. I think that at the end of the day, they belong there. They deserve to be there. They're the best team in MLS and the best team by association in CONCACAF. So yeah, I think that people were making a stink because there's nothing else to do right now. But you have to just acknowledge that they are the best team in MLS. That there's no two ways about it.
Business wise, it makes sense. Business wise for the MLS, but for the bottom feeders, again, they're angry. They're being left out of the pie. So yeah.
On to the next tweet. Nope, that is already a tweet we did. This tweet.
So this one is very interesting. So those that are listening all the way to now, 17 sold out games at Saputo Stadium, playoffs, very active summer transfer window, one one player sale, and one superstar at number 9. Still okay with not renewing your season tickets. That kind of a provocative, like where you guys at? Tweet.
Yeah,
What do you
no,
think,
he's
Hattie?
right. I mean,
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know. I said it quite a few times here on the Ball is Round. It's not a bad season that's going to change my mind and abandon my season tickets. So that's my opinion. Results are not very important. I have a local team. I have a local club. I'll always be here. As simple as that. Just because I love soccer, and it's very hard to find a league or a city where you have a professional club that's playing at a high level. And you know what? They will never lose me, whatever they do. I love the fact that I'm able to watch professional soccer. As simple as that.
100%. Elias, what do you think?
Hadi said it right at the end of
that tweet is not directed at us, right?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, it was more just. But I understand the sentiment because
but
everyone
look,
was making such a big deal about saying I'm not coming back next year.
Yeah.
Because I don't like what's happening. But that means if you like what's happening, you're coming back because you have to like what's happening now. They won 5 of the last 7 games and they only lost 1. They're in the playoffs and they're very likely going to play against Miami.
And that's like I'm one of those people that did decide. I said it on the show, right? I decided not to renew my season ticket. But when I made this decision, it was not based on emotion after losing 5-0 at home. I mean, that wasn't it. It's very much about a personal financial situation that I decided to do it. But there's a lot of people that use that momentum as being this is the reason. It just makes sense that. But if you make a decision based on 7 wins or 7 losses for about next year, there's a mistake. There's a very, very big mistake there in that sense, because sports is like that, man. In any sport, not just in soccer, sports in general is just like that. You can flip the switch, you can turn the script really, really quick, and you can win championships like that. It's been seen in the past and will be seen in the future. So never make a decision like that, but a lot of people have, and that's okay. They're the ones that are gonna right now are probably thinking, hey, maybe they're not that bad after all, right? So,
yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. That was social media. Oh, sorry. Did I have one more?
One last tweet. One last good thing that happened.
Yeah. Oh, man. Have fun with this one. So CF Montreal Clinch is a home playoff game. That's got to be an extra kick in the teeth to the Toronto FC Live fans. What do you guys got to say about that? What do you guys got to say about how Toronto fans are feeling right now? They beat us twice.
Honestly, I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of a Toronto FC fan right now. Honestly, because yes, of course there are rivals, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fans that are exactly like us that support their local club and everything, and we always have an excuse. Yeah, but we're not spending money, so that's normal. But you know what? X and X left. We only have 1 DP. They don't have those excuses. They have plenty of money, highest salary budget, or one of the highest.
Young talent.
A big club. A lot of talent too. So I don't know. Honestly, I would be very much annoyed looking at everything that they got or I got as a fan and not making it to the playoffs. So yeah, it's a sad day for Toronto FC fans, but you know what? We're happy, so that's important.
If that tweet was the other way around, that they were on us, whoa, boy!
I mean,
go ahead,
they were on Montreal all season.
They kicked us down.
And I'll still say,
right?
And I'll still say, we won a cup. We won a cup. You never won. So they're right.
Take that,
Yeah,
Toronto. We're in the playoffs, baby. Let's go.
they're doubling. Like, this is just reinforcing the fact that I never really had much faith in the Insigne Bernadeschi Herdman project to begin with,
Yeah.
because they're doing what many MLS teams have tried and failed to do before, which is kind of just buy your way into it. It's like, that's not how that works. Because even Inter Miami, who have effectively bought their way into it, it was, first of all, they bought smart. They didn't just buy a bunch of expensive players and an expensive coach and then said, okay, we're gonna win now. It's like, no, they have somewhat of a foundation,
sustainable.
and it's the four people they splashed their cash on have basically a psychic link that they've developed for 10 years, right? Bernadeschi and Insigne, besides the national team, have nothing. They haven't played in the same team. They haven't experience together. And John Herdman is not. John Herdman is a leader of men. John Herdman is not a tactician.
Yeah.
And Insigne and Bernadeschi are not going to be motivated by someone at this point in their careers in this league. That's not what they're here for. They're grown-ups. They're mature. Get a tactician that understands the game and says, "This is what I need you to do. Shut up and do it." And
Yeah, but like,
maybe a bit more simply, but
don't give them instructions, man.
Keep it to yourself, Elias.
They've been
man.
yelling. The fans have been yelling at this at them for a year and a half now. They think they listen and or care. No, they do what they do what the Maple Leafs try and do. They do what the Raptors try and do, and it's try and make up for the fact that they're not an American city. It's like, don't worry, be Canadian, do your own thing. Don't try and just become an American city and try and do what other people are doing. Do your own thing. And they're not going to listen, and that's why they won't win a title.
Yeah, if we have any Toronto fans listening, and I hope we do, honestly, guys, it's we understand your pain, and maybe next year, but it does seem like you guys are restructuring your franchise, which could be cool, which could be really cool for you guys. But
really cool for
right now we did the right things with a right coach. So I'm seeing Eric. So Eric says, all I can say about the TFC tweet is, damn it feels good to be a gangster. Agree with Elias. The TFC gamble was risky, and they are stuck for another 1.5 years. Very distracting to have the same Herdman case over his head as well at the same time. Yeah. So they're kind of reeling in, hopefully figure it out. But in the meantime, guys, we're in the playoffs. We're going to finish it with that. Thank you so much for the tweets.
Exactly, guys. This is going to wrap up our episode 200 of The Ball is Round. 200. I still can't believe it. Guys, thanks a lot for being here with me, Andy, Elias, all those listeners over the years, and especially the people that started listening when it was Soccer by Paul and Hadi, all the others that joined in. If you are a new fan, someone that really joined us for the first time, that's listening for the first time, you know what, guys? You can keep on coming. Our product is always going to be free. We don't want to change that. It's never going to change. This is not what we were going to do. So it's going to be free. But if you want to help us grow that product, if you want to help us get better at it and give more time and give more energy, you can come and join our Patreon page. Give a small token. It's like $5 a month just to help us even grow the product. Thanks a lot, everyone. Keep on coming. Keep on commenting. We have fun doing it. Thanks a lot again, Elias and Andy, for being here. And see you next week for episode 201 of The Ball is Round.